All right, and welcome to session one of the Silkworms Blades in the Dark series. We have completed session zero already. Did a little bit of a score, but nothing too intense. We are playing as the Silkworms. We are a crew in the Doskvol district of Silkshore. And Silkshore is, of course, kind of like the red light district of Doskvol. It is a place of illicit pleasures and so on. And our group, the Silkworms, are an up and coming crew of spies, actually. They're shadows, but they're mainly focused on espionage. Um, so we had a little bit of a score. We had the crew go after Lucas, who was a high ranking member of the Gondoliers. And, well, there was a little bit of a strange scenario we got into there. Maybe our characters can fill us in a little bit on what happened. So I'll get started here with Ari. And who are you playing?
Yeah, so I'm playing Cygnus. He's a gangly, bat-faced, furry-necked fellow from Tycheros. He is a whisperer. He's intent on studying and learning the arcane arts. And he's sort of an exile from his homeland. So now he's kind of joined up with this crew and trying to rise up from the bottom and pick up what he can wherever these fellows go.
And we'll see a little bit about where that leads in this episode here, I think.
Sure.
And next we have Lou. And who are you playing, Lou?
No, I'm playing Beetle. So she is a lurker, sneaky kind of character, and I think she's kind of in her mid to late teens. She's small. She has red hair. She also, we're full of weirdos in this gang. She's also has Tycherosi heritage. So she's her. So if people aren't familiar with it, Tycherosi kind of have a tell that shows that they have that. It's demonic, seem to be demonic heritage. So yeah, Ari's character Signet has the bat kind of features and stuff, and my character Beetle has these kind of rat teeth. You can't really tell there's anything strange about her, I guess, until she shows her teeth. So she's got like rat teeth, and she's always having to like chew on stuff because rats' teeth constantly grow. In the last, I don't currently know what she would kind of, that it's that classic kind of urchin orphan into thievery kind of backstory. She was raised in Doskvol, I think, and I don't know anything about what her real name. I haven't made any of that backstory up yet, so she's just Beetle, but maybe there's something else going on there. And for this, from Beetle's perspective, in the last job, she did awesome. She climbed up to the second story.
Well, you kind of got set up for a little bit of a show, by one of our absent players for this session, one of our spiders, who goes by the alias of Cuckoo, and who set you up to get close to the target of the score, Lucas. And what was that like?
Well, I think Beetle didn't know anything about that extra maneuvering, perhaps, or like, just look out for someone that'll help you in there. So she was kind of sneaking through this brothel, I guess, high-end brothel.
Yes, the Red Lamp, I believe it's called.
And was kind of having trouble moving through the space, and a woman showed up and kind of led her to the mark I think. Was the mark in the room? I forget.
He was, yes.
Whatever happened, Beetle ended up in the room with one or more naked people. and had managed to lead one of the spiders in there as well. So that was mission accomplished according to Beetle, and she left before anything could get much weirder. She also did totally forget about letting the rest of the crew in through the door, which was another part of her job. But anyway.
So speaking of which, let's talk about Ryan, your character. Who are you playing, and how did that end up for you?
I am playing Sev Malay, otherwise known as Razor, but sole non-Tycherosi member of the team today. Actually, accuracy. Very cold, pale, precise leech who specializes in tinkering with bodies. And from her perspective, a beetle just completely botched the last mission. She didn't let anyone in. When I tracked down Beetle, she evaded me entirely, didn't say anything, and ran out the door, and I have no idea where she's gone. But okay, who knows what Beetle is ever up to. And yeah, also, we've managed to track down one of our spiders, Eleonora, only for her to disappear into thin air. So I have no idea what happened to the last mission, but I hope we won.
Yeah, so you did get that image through by way of the I believe it was like a stone you had that indicated that the target, their domicile, their place of residence, was some kind of ship. And so you did get the information you needed to pull off the score. However, you were very confused, leaving the leaving the red lamp. The mark completely disappeared into thin air with Eleonora and the cohort of courtesans that were previously mentioned. So we'll see maybe in a subsequent episode what happened to them. But for the moment, it's kind of time to regroup and spend some downtime. And we'll see where each of these characters ends up. So the first question I had for you was, do all of you have some stress to burn?
I've got a very small amount of stress that it would be very dangerous to try and get rid of.
Yeah, how many do you have there? Okay, so that may be a bad idea to try to indulge your vice here, because for those of you who don't know, if you recover more stress during your indulge vice move than you have currently, it means you overindulge and you get consequences. So it would be almost certain that Beetle would run into trouble if she tried to indulge that vice there. So what about the rest of you? How much stress do you have?
I have one stress. Yeah, okay, so I think I'm fine just to carry it over for now.
We didn't get any stress.
Yeah, so I think that the characters who got the most stressed out from the last job were all like the spiders, both of them, Eleonora and Cuckoo. So
Beetle was fictionally very stressed out.
Yeah, fictionally you were very stressed out. You took some you had some traumatic experiences, but you know, it didn't actually mechanically manifest.
Beetle's young; she springs back.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, she's really
it's a learning experience.
It'll all be fine. So you have 2 downtime actions to spend then that you can just freely spend. So let's talk about the downtime actions and what it is that you can do. So coincidentally, I've just been putting the finishing touches on my video on downtime activities, so I do know what these are. So your options here are to acquire an asset. So that can be either equipment, it can be a cohort of people that you want to use to do something. It could be a vehicle, or it could be a service. And so that would be like anything that you could conceivably hire in the normal world. Like the examples here are like transport from a smuggler or driver, use of a warehouse for temporary storage, legal representation, etc. So yeah, so items, cohorts, vehicles, or services are all available as assets if you're interested in that. Another thing you can do is to start a long-term project. So that is if you want to do something complex, something that is going to change up the narrative, something that might change your character, something you might construct, or even something you use to sort of alter the rules of the game. All of those fall under long-term projects, and you can kind of work away at them by spending downtime activities. So that's a good one to do if you just want to, like, say your character's got something on the side that they're doing. The next option is to recover. So this is what you do if you have harm, but I don't think any of you have harm yet, so I think you're good. You can reduce the heat of the crew, which you do have some heat, so you could do this. So this is basically things like trying to buy off some of the blue coats, the police of Doskvol, or trying to placate the locals, maybe trying to smooth things over with the gondoliers because they're pretty angry at you. That would be an option. You can also train. So that just means you either try to improve an attribute, or you try to improve or work towards a ability for your playbook, and you can get an XP by spending that. And the last one is to indulge your vice, but you don't need to do that. So starting with, yeah, let's think here about the cart. Do you have any downtime activities you want to attempt here?
Let's see. Downtime. Possibly, but we each get 2, right? We get 2 things we can do here?
You get 2 activities you can spend, yes.
If I understand correctly, reducing heat is actually pretty hard to do generally, right?
Yeah, it's I mean, the thing is that when you start to build up more stress, and especially once you get trauma, you're probably going to be soaking 1 downtime activity every downtime phase on just reducing your stress. So that means you have less downtime activities available to reduce your heat. So at this point in time, it's easiest for you to reduce heat, but it will become more difficult as you continue to play.
Yeah. I'm thinking my priority would be to reduce our heat.
Okay, sure.
Maybe if, I mean, are you going through these in order, like just downtime, who's doing downtime, or is it anything you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's anything you want to do, but we'll kind of see what your scene looks like, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah, I think reduce heat.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna go with that.
So to reduce your heat, you're going to say what your character's doing to reduce your heat level. So let's take a look at your crew sheet here, and we'll see how much heat you have. So currently, you've got
5.
Yeah, you took a lot of heat from that last job, so this is probably a good thing to do.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to try to reduce your heat?
So my one of my, let me pull up my character sheet. One of my friends is Lord Skurlock, and he's actually one of the factions we're allied with.
Yes.
And if I remember correctly, he has friends in the blue coats.
Well, I mean, he's got friends in lots of places, but I think you're right about that. Let's see here. He indeed does have alliances with the Bluecoats, yes.
Yeah, so I was thinking maybe through our connection with Lord Skurlock, he's able to pull some strings with the Bluecoats and get some of the heat off of our back.
Okay, well, you're going to have to kind of explain to me what your relationship is with Lord Skurlock, because one does not simply go to Lord Skurlock and say, hey, buddy, can you give me a break here?
Absolutely, absolutely.
How did you get close to his lordship?
I think, and let me propose a thing here, because we haven't really explored this yet. I'm thinking that because I'm a mortal and I suspect he isn't. There's a lot of rumors probably going around that he uses mortals as sort of tools and spies and ways to obtain secret knowledge that he may not want to personally expose him to. So whenever I do a job, I kind of let him know what I find out, and if there's something that I can share with him, he'll kind of help me along. So maybe I either have done some things to get this special favor from him, or he may want something from me, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see kind of how that plays out, but I'm interested to know how you got to meet him in the first place.
Oh, right. So I think I grew up when I first arrived in Doskvol. I grew up around what is it called? Is it Charter Hall? No, Six Towers. The sort of like dilapidated, once prosperous part of the city. And if I recall, his family mansion, which he's no longer living in, is situated there.
Yes, it is.
So when I was pushing, my job when I first arrived in Doskvol was basically to push around a cart full of sea creatures, seafood. And maybe some of these items were sort of delicacies that the more prosperous people there picked up.
Yeah, I like that.
How about if through one of his descendants, I was able to sort of slowly get his attention? Maybe one of his cousins, or long distance cousins, or his family member who still might live in the area.
Yeah, like someone who's still living in the Skurlock Manor.
Yeah.
Cool.
Maybe saw how poorly off I am and saw some potential in me, and then that's where it started.
Yeah. Yeah. So as Liz mentioned, we do have that other connection through Adelaide Frigg to Skurlock, but because you took him as a personal friend, I think he's got that direct connection to you.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, so let's give this relation of Skurlocks a name. Who do you think that might be?
How about Norwick?
Norwick Skurlock?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's such a sweet, dorky name. I'm just picturing it being some sort of like pale, like bookworm or something.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
Only comes out for the lamprey pies.
Lamprey pies and hagfish.
Yeah. Nice.
Hagfish
okay.
stew.
So we'll say, yeah, like, Norwick eventually sort of timidly introduced you to his lordship, because I imagine that they don't have an especially close relationship because Skurlock has moved out of the manor and he's kind of doing his own thing. But hey, he'll at least acknowledge that his relatives exist. So, so I think that may have been an opportunity for you to let him know of your interest in the occult and the arcane.
Right.
And that Yeah, so you probably have done some kind of favor for him in the past in order to get this in with Skurlock. So what
Yeah.
do you think that might have been?
Yeah, this might be going a little dark, but
It's in the name of the game.
I think the first things that I did for him to prove myself were to give him marks for feeding. He's a vampire.
So,
So any jobs we did where there were some truly unsavory individuals or people who may be in rival gangs, I may have tipped them off on where they're going to be at a certain time at night.
Yeah, I like that because it works into your whole spy angle. Yeah.
Right.
So okay. All right. So Skurlock is eating your enemies. I like it.
Oh, that's so wrong.
Okay, so I think you come to his lordship, and I want to know like who exactly you're trying to smooth things over with. Like, who are you asking him to interact with? It's the Bluecoats, right?
It's the Bluecoats.
Okay. Yeah. So the Bluecoats. I wonder if this is. Like, this may be less related to the job that you just did, because there wasn't actually anything illegal you did in the last job, really. Like, you just kind of entered the brothel and went and met the guy, and then boom, magic, and you disappeared. So
sure.
So maybe this is kind of like maybe what this actually is that the Bluecoats are sort of concerned about the magical goings on at the Red Lamp, and Skurlock. You're asking Skurlock to kind of like intercede, to just say like, "Don't worry about it, like forget about it."
Right.
Thing. Okay, so what action are you using to get him to do this?
Let's see. I don't think it's command.
No, I don't think so.
I just can't see that happening. Maybe sway.
Sway. Okay, cool. I like it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Sway.
So sway. So this is you're kind of trying to like persuade him it's in his best interest, or what kind of approach are you taking here?
Yeah, I think what I'm doing here is kind of telling him that, the Bluecoats getting too much attention here is not going to be good for him.
Okay.
Just to kind of spread it around so that, he's got sort of an even playing field.
So do we think that Skurlock has like some kind of connection to the Red Lamp brothel, or?
Maybe that, or possibly, doesn't he have agents planted around? Yeah. I may not know that personally, but I may suspect something along those lines.
Sure.
Maybe he doesn't want too much attention focused in any one particular place, because then his own people might get, drawn out.
Okay. So I think that's a good angle for a sway. And what kind of place do we think you like meet him in? Because it's not his manor.
No.
How do you usually like meet Lord Skurlock?
I think maybe in Six Towers somewhere. That's where his family used to live. I mean, that's where he used to live. He would be very familiar with that area, I imagine.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of derelict buildings there also, so there's probably a lot of space for acting, in private, secret.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. There's all these derelict buildings, as you said, and so it says here for buildings in Six Towers, they have palatial estates tumbled into disrepair, grand manors remodeled into cramped and cheap apartments. Which of these do you think it is that you meet him in?
I think the former is more appropriate.
Okay. Yeah, like I imagine.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I imagine this isn't his manor specifically, but like maybe it's like I could imagine that like it's some kind of manor house that has been abandoned because it was like persistently haunted, something like that. And he's just like, whatever, I'll deal with it. Like, no big deal to me. I've got a demon that helps me out with these things, so it's fine. So yeah, so like I think we see this rundown manor. It's probably like yeah, like a 3-story building. I think it's maybe like sort of disturbingly narrow though. Like it isn't of the proper like wide and majestic proportions that you would expect of a manor house. Yeah, and we see the cart walk up to this place, and you pass through the gate, and everything's like overgrown with like I guess like it's not really grass because grass doesn't grow in Doskvol, right? Like there's no sun, right? So it's probably like more like lichens and stuff that have taken over. Yeah. And it's kind of like all over the walls and like up the sides. And there's maybe like some weird vines that are growing, like some kind of like razor thorn thing. And when you walk up to the door, it just like gently opens, and there's a faint light that emanates from the inside. And you pass into the building, and you see I think it's Skurlock is probably like reclined on like a chaise, and everything's very decayed. There's all these like sort of like worn out curtains and dust everywhere, and he's just in the middle of it, like completely unconcerned. And reading a book of some arcane origin that you recognize. So let's get you to make this. Roll here. So you're basically going to make a fortune roll with your sway action. So we don't need to worry about setting position and effect. You just roll with the number of dice that you have dots in sway.
Okay. No, I have no dots, so is that default at what, 2 dice?
Well, that's.
Oh wait, yeah, it's 3 dice for this, isn't it?
So when you reduce heat, you are going to, yes, I believe you will be rolling 2 dice and taking the lowest.
Okay. Well, here goes.
Remember, you can spend coin to raise the effect level or the result level afterwards. So we'll see how this goes.
After I roll, let's do this.
So fortune roll. Okay.
Not good.
Ooh, that's a 1. Okay. So this means that you would clear 1 heat. However, do you have any coin? Because you can raise that by spending some coin.
I do. I have 2 coin.
All right. So you can spend both coin if you want to bump that up 2 levels.
Yeah. How bad do you guys want to reduce that heat? I don't mind spending the coin.
I think Beetle's got a potential something that she could try as well if you want to save your money. Because can't you also? How much does it cost to buy an extra downtime action?
An extra downtime action. I don't think you can buy an extra downtime action.
Really? I thought you could.
Hang on.
Just my head.
sorry, it is 1 coin to buy an extra downtime action. I didn't get that right.
Yeah.
There's an ability that lets you get an extra one, but no, that you can spend 1 coin or 1 rep to do that.
Just
Yeah,
to
and you
be
can
clear,
share a coin, right?
I'll sometimes say things that are from totally the wrong rules as well, because I've watched my main experience with Blades is watching Bloodletters, and they play through like
yeah, that's like old beta version Blades. Yeah. So so here's the thing. I think it's fair in most cases to share a coin. However, I think in this case, you're kind of out there on your own. So I kind of want you to spend the resources that you have specifically.
Sure. I'll spend 1 coin to increase it, and I'll save the other coin.
Okay.
For Beetle. I don't think Beetle got any coin the last time. I might share it with him for his action.
Yeah, fair point here. Okay, so that means you are going to clear 2 heat from the track. So I will just bring up that crew sheet, and we're going
down to 3.
Yep, down to 3. So I think it's this 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Excellent.
Cool. So you're down to 3 heat. That is pretty good for you. But let's talk about how this works. So we'll say that you've maybe prepared some kind of gift, or you have some kind of social currency that you're using to help convince Skurlock of the importance of interceding on your behalf. What would that look like?
How do you folks feel about me divulging the location of that ship to Lord Skurlock?
I mean,
whether Razor has an opinion or not, she's not there. So
I was gonna say, like, I mean, it doesn't really matter what they think, does it? Because you're on your own out here.
Yeah, I think this makes for good television for him to know this. So I'm gonna offer this to Lord Skurlock. I'm gonna tell him that I have found something quite interesting.
Okay, so that's gonna be like our substitute here for the coin that you spend.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think he sits up when you enter the room, and he moves out of the chaise with a sort of alarming fluidity. Looks like he's not really resisting gravity very much, and gestures to like an old chair for you to sit down. And like I think he says, "It's my good friend, the cart man. Well, do sit. I'll find something for you to drink." And he like moves over to like an old liquor cabinet, and there's like some whiskeys in there that haven't been touched in a very, very long time.
Right.
Like opens it up. There's like a cloud of dust. There's like a moat that's moving through like the moonlight, and grabs a tumbler and pours you some whiskey, and walks over and hands you a drink. He says, "What can I do for you?"
"You are most generous, Lord Skurlock." And I bow to him, take a seat, and I hold the tumbler in my hand, and I say, "It would be in our interest if you would take the attention of the Bluecoats away for some time."
Oh, the Bluecoats have been bothering you?
"Yes, at the Red Lantern."
I did hear that something strange happened there the other night. Were you involved?
"Yes."
If you don't mind me asking.
"Yes, indeed, I was. During our stay there, it was the toll of a distant bell, and then I received a vision. And I described to him that the insides of the ship and the figure that I saw there."
Right. And I think there's a moment where he's like looking over his shoulder, and he's kind of like speaking absent-mindedly to something that isn't there. Do you have an ability to be able to see ghosts?
I do actually. Maybe not precisely as you described, but I do have, what's it called? Give me a second, pull it up. I have Compel, which allows me to draw ghosts over to me.
Okay.
And summon and compel them.
Okay, so I don't think you can just see ghosts, though, that are trying to remain hidden. Yes, other beings.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So he just says, oh, well, yes, perhaps we should investigate. Well, I will, first, where are my manners? I should thank you for coming to me rather than someone else with this information. Were there others who had learned about this?
Yes, there were a few others. My crew only.
And just like out of character, like the Wraiths also know about this because they were your employers for this job.
Oh, right.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have a reason to hide that from him. So
yeah, okay.
I tell him that.
They're below his tier, so he wouldn't be too upset about it. So, so maybe you just sort of tell him, and he says, he says, "Oh, well, damn. I must say, it disappoints me somewhat that you are associating with those low lives. You are a seeker of knowledge, not a small-time spy."
I will go to great lengths in service of our mutual interests and seeking arcane knowledge, but one must start somewhere when climbing the ladder.
And I think he smiles a toothy smile at that, and claps you on the shoulder and says, "Yes, an enterprising and inquisitive mind. I appreciate both of these qualities in my friends. Go then, be off, finish your drink, and leave us. I will do what I can to see that our friends in blue look the other way. The Red Lantern pays them well, but they can still prove to be a bother."
Nice. Yeah, my eyes linger for a moment on the arcane book that he was keeping at his side, and finish my drink and quietly leave.
If you want to do an action roll to learn what the book is, you can do that.
Yeah, I would actually, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Maybe there's something going on here.
So, what action are you using to try to figure out what it is? Oh, I think we possibly lost Harry for a moment there.
I don't think he could sit that still.
No. So in the meantime, do the rest of you have some downtime activities you'd like to perform?
I've got some lined up, but I'd like to see Ryan go first.
Yeah, sure. So
Fine, then.
So what would our friend Razor like to do?
Such a wonderful, ominous term for Razor. She considers you all her friends. with the quotation marks there. I think Razor is going to be training in this interval.
Okay, cool.
Because reducing heat would be great, but I'm not totally sure how my skills will pan into heat reduction at the moment, at least.
Okay, fair. I think training is a good choice. Is there anything in particular? So what are you going to train? Are you going to train an attribute, or are you going to are you going to try to increase one of your action ratings, or are you going to try to work towards getting an advancement in your playbook?
I think I'm going to work toward getting an advancement.
Okay, cool. So obviously you're mostly kind of like interested in doing weird experimentation and that kind of thing. So like, what does it look like when you train?
When Razor is up to things in the hideout, there's a sudden amount of her going to and from, or with odd things in tow, or boxes that you don't need to worry about, or people coming by to deliver things and disappearing. And the workshop is generally sort of somewhat off limits. You can come by, but she's very curt and annoyed, and it often smells very unpleasant, or there are disassembled bits of things or people around.
Is this like a formaldehyde kind of smell?
Formaldehyde and any of the strange essences or living blood or anything she can get a hold of. It gets weird quickly. Okay. Very mad scientist vibe.
Okay, cool. So let's well, you don't even have to roll, you just get that XP. So
no, Beetle, this is the best hideout. You just have weird standards.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of like weird machinery in one part of this kind of like lock house, and in the other part there are parts of things in a strange formaldehyde smell, and then in the corner there is where Beetle hangs out.
I'm gonna need these spare parts for you, so come on, think for the future.
I actually kind of like seeing as you guys didn't freaking pay me for the last thing, maybe you're like giving Beetle like some pocket money to like help you out with some jobs and shit around there.
If Beetle wants to help like run to and from my like corpse thief buddy, I will totally give her 1 coin to help me run errands in the downtime.
Let's see that. And I also like to see a scene of her trying to lift up one of the boxes and you like slapping her like hand out of the way before she can look in there.
It's a very precise slap, though.
Yeah. Once you're contaminating the goods.
Cool.
All right, nice. Okay, so Ari, welcome back. Let's talk about that action.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, I think you're muted.
Hear me?
Okay. So the action you were using, what was that?
I think study makes sense.
Study. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
so
I have 2 in study.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna look up the description of that because that's how I set position and effect. Study: a person, a document, or an item with close scrutiny to gather information and apply knowledge, gain a deeper understanding, do research. So I will say, because this requires close scrutiny, this is going to put you in a risky position. And I will say the effect will be standard. It's just kind of like, you can see the cover of the book more or less. You can't actually read the contents of the book. So yeah, I'll get you to roll with study. This is the point where we can start talking about tier, now that I think about it. because your tier is 0 and Lord Skurlock's tier is 3.
Yes.
So here's the thing. As it stands, you're going to go down from standard effect to limited effect to 0 effect, because of the tier that he's got, right? Because you're 0 and he's 3. So if you want to, you can spend stress to increase your effect to limited. That's a thing you can do. So
is that the push? That's the push, right?
I believe that is pushing yourself. Yes.
Yeah. So I can either take a die, or I can increase the effect. You said the position is risky also?
Risky. The position is risky, not desperate.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and when we're doing push, it's either push or devil's bargain. I can't take also a devil's bargain. It's one or the other, right?
That is correct. And because you're by yourself, you cannot get help from another player.
Oh. Yeah, this is too good an opportunity to pass up, though. I just want to see what happens here.
Okay, so you gonna spend that stress, or are you gonna take a devil's bargain?
I'm gonna. You know what? I'm devil's bargain.
Okay, cool. So the devil's bargain, I think you're gonna get involved with Cetera here.
Oh boy.
I think if you want to start to learn about what Skurlock is studying, Cetera will become interested in you. So is that a bargain you're willing to make? Sure.
Let's do it.
So for the benefit of the others at the table here, Cetera is the demon that Lord Skurlock is in a long-term relationship with.
Yeah, they're indebted to each other, right? At the moment,
yes,
he's in debt to her, but it's kind of this back and forth thing.
It's very much like a sort of like back and forth sub and dom kind of situation between these two. All right, so we'll say it's the case. So you're rolling. You're risky limited. Lord Skurlock is, just to give you a little bit more background, he is a vampire. He is a character that is sort of like the subject of one of John Harper's earlier games that he wrote. Although he doesn't exactly appear in that game. And Cetera is also a character from one of John Harper's other games called Magister Lore.
That's so cool that these are all tied together like that. It's really, really tight. All right, here goes the roll. Let's see what happens.
All right.
No bonus dice.
Fortunately not.
Oh, hey.
Okay, a 5. That's
not bad.
That's good. That's not bad at all. All right, so your risky position. You do it, but there's a consequence. You suffer harm. A complication occurs. You have reduced effect. You end up in a desperate position. So I think I'm going to go for
Did the Devil's Bargain not give you a bonus dice? I thought that was the whole point of taking the Devil's Bargain.
The point of taking the Devil's Bargain here was to reduce or increase the effect from 0 to limited.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So you try to focus on the cover of this book. And at first the characters sort of like swim in front of your eyes and you can't really make out what the book's even titled. But once you have a moment to focus a little more, and you study up all your scholarly abilities to discern what these characters say, and you learn that the title of the book is on the demons of the deep. So you learn what Skurlock is studying about, but as soon as these words enter your mind, there is another voice that enters your mind as well. It is a female voice, and she speaks to you, and she says, "Interested in his lordship's business?"
Oh, no, not at all. Not even slightly.
Don't lie to me, little man. I understand what you want.
I throw a glance, and it's hard to even look at Lord Skurlock. But I'm trying to see if he's playing a trick on me, and I think I might realize immediately that this is something beyond him.
Yes, he's absorbed in reading. He's not focused on you, and this is clearly something coming from elsewhere.
Yeah.
And there's no voice that follows after that. Even if you were trying to speak in your mind to the voice, all you hear is in the distance the sound of the ocean, the tide coming in and going out. And it just stays in the background of your mind.
Yeah, I just begin to shrink back, and Lord Skurlock, I bid you adieu. I think I will be taking my leave now. And I quickly place the tumbler on the table and just back away with my head down, and just hoping that escaping from this room is going to preserve me from the effects of this demon.
Yeah, so
which is probably futile.
I think we just get the shot of the tumbler being placed down on the table, and there's like a ring of dust that it leaves around it, and we see your shadow disappear from the scene. But the sound of the ocean does not.
Oh, that's great.
She has her hooks in you. So cool. So I will make a note of that. Well, we will actually. Let's when we take a break, I'm definitely going to start a clock for that. That Cetera will have something for you in store. Cool. But hey, you learned something important about what Lord Skurlock is doing, so that's worth something. It's probably worth something to a lot of people.
I'm sorry. The demons of Doskvol.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The sea demons in particular.
I wonder why sea demons.
Demons of the deep. Yes. Okay. So Lou, let's get to your downtime action here.
Cool. Okay, so I've got two things that I want to do that are linked. The first one is I want to round up some like urchins as some sort of like temporary gang thing to help on the next like the next job that we do. Like as you know, like little birds, you know, like information gatherers. But fictionally, I'm going to use them as a means for reducing hate by getting them to like kind of spread misinformation, I guess, when they're asked. Like it's the urchins from that area. So if the blue coats or whoever asks them who was there that night, they'll all be telling a totally different story to the other one. So it'll just be a mess.
Okay, yeah. So this is like spreading disinformation. Cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this because this is pretty interesting. Like, what do the urchins of Silkshore look like, right? Because this is a very sort of like, you know, affluent district. What do the urchins look like? What do the street kids look like in this place?
So I think they're probably heaps not even meant to be in this area. Like it's probably, I don't think there's a heap of them here because you just get kicked out if you seem to be like begging or like, you know, being an urchin in this.
Right. So your background, what was it?
Yeah, she's pretty much just like a street rat. Yeah.
Right, but like in terms of the category of people you hang with, was Underworld. Yeah. So this could be something a little different. It could be like the kids who are like doing sort of odd jobs for the different houses of gambling and pleasure and stuff, or the transport in this area. You know, like you could have connections with those kind of people.
Yeah, so I think maybe these are the kids that the madams and stuff get to follow their customers like back to their houses just to, you know, to gather blackmail material.
Yeah, I really like the idea of Beetle like sort of like turning this local network against the owners and using them to her ends.
Just cool. Because she's one of them, like she's been one of them, and so you know there's they've got that happening.
Okay, so what action are you using here?
I guess that it is probably sway.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I could see sway, I could see consort.
I think I'm using charm and logic.
Okay.
Like, you know, she's charming and also the logic is, you know, help me out, I'll help you out. I used to be you.
Okay, so if you're swaying, I want to know what like you're putting on the table here, right? Like what are you trying to convince them to do? Well, I mean, to do is the disinformation, but like what are you saying as like why is this in their best interest to do it?
I think it's probably it's like I'm telling them that it's mutually beneficial. Like if they need me to do something like this, it's like favor swapping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a friend who is a person of this description, or
I've got Telda, who is a beggar. So I don't know if she's. I figure the way I actually pictured her when I chose her was as some sort of like important person, like two beggars. Like I don't know. I'm such a Pratchett nerd. I think there's probably some sort of beggars guild or something.
Yeah, sure.
She's an important like person.
Cool, I like it.
Beggars. Yeah. Maybe she's actually perhaps she's the oldest. Like she's the oldest beggar, like queen of the beggars or something. So all of the urchins, and she's like a kind of auntie to everyone. She's potentially actually quite well off even because she's receives maybe it's lucky to give her money.
Yeah.
But she still begs every day.
Cool. I like that a lot. And like, so this is the person you're going to. And so I think what we're going to do here is we are going to go to the faction sheet here. And I'm going to add a faction to the citizenry, which will be, so her name was Tilda, is that right?
Yeah, Telda, Telda.
Telda's, what would it be like? Telda's Society of Friends or something like that. Telda's Friendly Society.
Yeah, that sounds great. I like also maybe she's the only person that's like officially allowed to beg in Silkshore or something. Like she's just in the prime spot in like the main street of Silkshore doing her thing.
So we'll say, let me just check here the tier thing, because I'm kind of thinking about how many people would be in this gang. 44. So would you say roughly 20 people in this gang?
Maybe it's 20 because each urchin only counts for like 3 or 4 like full-size people. You know what I mean? Like, let's say 20, because then
Yeah. Okay,
but
so we'll say
it's mainly urchins and like, you know, that stereotypical like beggar on the cart with like no legs and, you know, like people. So perhaps they're like, if it's like if they were in a conflict, if that's how it measures them, maybe they're only worth 20.
Gotcha. Totally. So I'm going to say that this is a tier 3 faction with a weak hold. And I want you to roll some fortune dice here. So let's see. You are lower tier than them, but you have a friend. Their leader is your friend. And so I think we're just going to go with a straight die of fate. Oh, I'll also give you an extra die because they are also underworld.
Cool.
So let's say you're rolling two dice on this fortune roll. Yep. And depending on the result, that will determine how much they like you.
Cool.
Nice.
Roll fortune, 2 dice. 4.
Cool. 4. So that will count as a mixed result. So we'll say they're at +1 with you. So that's cool. All right. So now that we have the relationship with them figured out, let's figure out how your attempt to reduce the heat goes.
Yep.
So, you know, what kind of place do you think Telda hangs out in?
I'm picturing her like I kind of said on the she's got this prime spot, you know, between two like, I don't know, maybe I think maybe they're 2 shops for people of the night, you know, they're like,
oh yeah,
and they're like fancy clothes shop. Like, I mean, everyone's a person of the night here, I guess, but
it's always night, so yeah,
I guess maybe the term has held on like over the since the sun disappeared, or was destroyed, or whatever the hell happened to the sun.
People, who knows, right? Maybe Lord Skrowalk was involved. Who can say? Like maybe they're called like true Duskers or something like that. Let's say it's like, there's like a kind of a like outfitting store, like a clothing store with, like, you know, they sell silks and that kind of thing. And on the other side of the corner, it maybe is like I don't know, like a perfume provider, perfume store. And then like in between, there's like these different smells coming from the perfume store outside, but like, you know, Telda herself does not smell so sweet. So I think, you know, she sees you walk up and she just says, Beetle, off making the rounds?
Yeah, but I didn't just come to say hi. I mean, hello, of course. It's really nice to see you.
Hello, Beetle. Hello.
I think I throw like a small coin like into the like her hat or whatever she's got on the ground.
Sure. I won't make you roll for that.
I figure it's tradition. You've got to give her something, right?
Yeah, so she like picks up the coin, like rubs it with her fingers and puts it down. She says, much obliged. Much obliged. What's
And I
your
think
business out here this
I
hour?
think and I think Beetle's just perfectly honest.
Uh-huh.
He's like, hey, we got into some trouble the other night. There might be people around asking questions. I wondered if you could get the kids to maybe you know sow some little seeds, like.
She nods and she rubs the coins. She says, I had heard something happening down at Madame Tesselin's red lamp. But
You heard right, old lady.
oh, did I?
Yeah, you heard right.
And I want you to roll. So you're gonna roll with sway here.
Cool.
And I will give you a bonus die because she's your friend. And well, actually, I don't think I can do that because I didn't do that for Lord Skurlock. So I'll just say you just get a roll with your sway here.
Cool. Six. Straight 6.
All right, great. So that counts, I believe, for 3 heat reduction. Do you want to? Well, actually, you have 1 coin, right? Because you got a coin from Razor.
Yeah, that's all the heat though. The heat's all gone now.
Oh, right. Okay, straight. Right. So that's no problem. So yeah, heat is all gone. She says, yeah, she says, oh, do I? I could have sworn I heard something different. And she like winks at you.
I exaggeratedly wink back at her.
Yeah. And like we just get like a scene of like her like whispering to different like urchins and sort of urchins and like spies and like kitchen scullery workers and stuff that are coming by throughout the day, and they're like telling people this and that.
I've got a cool little bit of flavor actually about the conversation. Like I know how we just played it out, but I think if we overlay, I think they were actually like saying completely different things. She's like, here you go, why don't you get something to eat with this, beggar? And she's like, well, but like they're you can see them doing like slight little like hand signs like as they're talking, and it's like that conversation they had is like subtitled on the screen. It's like a beggars/thieves can't kind of like hand signal thing.
Totally. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, we just kind of get like a picture of the network that she has operating throughout Silkshore. Yeah. Cool.
I realized that we didn't see the fiction of Razor's like training thing. Did we see that or?
We did see that. Yes, we did. That was the boxes coming in and.
Yeah. So that was it. Yeah. Okay. I just selfishly decided that was all about me.
The fact that you delivered a box once.
Right, and I mean the thing is that with train there's no roll, so it's not like it's really an opportunity to have a complication. You just kind of do the thing. Cool. So you all have 1 downtime activity remaining, and I think Ari, are you still here or have you left us?
Yeah.
Oh, great, cool.
Oh, I'm here.
Yeah. So, what else would you like to do with your downtime here?
Yeah. Let's see. Maybe train would be another option.
Okay. Cool. And what are you going to train?
Yeah. Maybe something. Now it doesn't have to be something I already have a skill in, right?
It can be either your action, or it can be, or sorry, you can either be your attribute that you're putting it in, or it can be your advancement in your playbook.
Sorry,
I'm just gonna double check that.
Right, so I could actually take a special ability with this. Is that what you're saying?
You can work towards it. You get 1 XP, so.
Right. Yeah, I see it. Playbook advancement down at the bottom. Every time you roll a desperate action, mark XP in that action's action.
Yeah, so that last one wasn't desperate. It was risky.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that box.
It's
yeah,
like
I think I'm gonna
Dungeon
do that.
Got to keep an eye on it.
Did we get some last session? I thought we did, right?
You did, yeah. No, we did. We did do downtime stuff, or sorry, the end of session stuff. So there was XP.
I think I put it in my action boxes.
Right. And and Lou, if you want to go through your questions and figure out your XP, you can get some XP from the last job.
Cool. I was just doing that. But can I ask a question? So we can either put them into, where can we put those XP?
Into your attribute advancement or into your playbook advancement. Yes. Cool. And I believe it is when you max out the attribute, you get to choose to put a point into one of the actions that fall under it. Yeah, I think that's how that works.
Yeah. And how does our shadows, like we've got training in prowess. What does that do?
That's a good question. What does that?
Does it help the roll when we train in that area, or like?
Oh, yes. Yes, I think. Yes, that's correct. Yes. I believe that's right. Let me see. So that is a. Let's see here. So I wonder if it's under the description of shadows. Don't think so. I think this might be a general thing. Upgrades. Okay, yeah, it's a general thing.
Sorry to distract with rules.
That is totally fine. We were in the downtime phase. These things happen. Right. Upgrades. Page 48, maybe. Where could that be?
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for what the training upgrade does on the crew sheet. Found it. So if you have a training upgrade, you earn 2 XP instead of 1 when you train a given XP track during downtime, Insight, Prowess, Resolve, or Playbook XP. This upgrade essentially helps you advance more quickly. So yes, if you try to advance Prowess, you get 2 XP instead of 1 every downtime activity. So what are you trying to advance?
Well, if I'm going to get 2 for 1 for advancing prowess, that's low-hanging fruit. So I think I'm going to go for that.
Cool. That is totally fair. So let's see.
I don't have anything under prowess, so it's probably in my interest to put at least 1 or 2.
Yeah, why not?
To increase my defenses, right?
Yeah, your resistance capacity there. Yeah, so that falls finesse, prowl, skirmish, and wreck all fall under prowess. So yeah, what does it look like? What does this training look like for the cart? I
think it actually began as I was slinking away from Lord where I met Lord Skurlock, realizing the value of going in and out unseen. And then with the time I have left, I think I'm going to, find places where a lot of acts of theft occur. I mean, that's something we do, but maybe observing how some of the other gangs are approaching the same thing, and then using that knowledge to begin to copy the best techniques.
Okay. So you're basically like trying to learn how to prowl better, more or less.
I'm
right?
watching the competition. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Observing the competition.
All right, I like that. Yeah, so is this still in Six Towers, or do you think you went back to Silkshore?
I think it's back at Silkshore. Yeah, Silkshore.
So you got cut off there.
Silkshore.
Oh yeah, okay. So like, yeah, maybe we get like a shot of like the cart on a gondola headed like on the long ride from Six Towers back to Silkshore, and just having this kind of like nervous look, but then resolving to watch. Like, what's your vantage point in all of this? Where do you watch people from?
I think mostly from the gondolas, but also I make my way to the rooftops where I can peer down into alleyways and in points of ingress and egress of different various buildings that I know get hit a lot.
Okay, cool.
And then just watch how people are getting in and out of there.
Right. All right, nice. So Mark 2 XP.
There's no moonlight, right?
It's super effective. And yeah, let's move on to Ryan. What's Razor up to with their last activity?
That's a good question. I've been trying to figure that out.
Well, the book tells me that if you're stumped on what you want to do, I should suggest a long-term project for you to start.
Oh, that sounds fun.
So is there anything you kind of want to work towards here, Razor? Is there anything you have in mind?
That sounds like even more ideas I don't have.
So let's think about it. Like, you've been trading up, you've been working away in your workshop. Is there anything that you've been trying to make or something you've been trying to discover?
What are those awesome like things called in the fiction that are like they're kind of like there's various different types of, are they called husks or something? Like there's the weird zombie like things that you can make. That could be cool.
I was thinking sort of along those lines, but I don't know the fiction very well at all. There's nothing I can find about it online. So
that is no problem. Let's talk about it. So we'll go to the chapter on weird ghost shit, and
that is exactly what I'm up to. Weird ghost shit.
Yeah. So the hull.
That's good stuff.
It is a spirit animating a Sparkcraft frame. So it's basically like a spirit within some kind of automaton.
So is Sparkcraft just like mechanics stuff?
Yeah, it is mechanical. So I'll read the description of the hull for you. A hull is a rare and advanced form of arcane technology that uses a captured spirit to animate a Sparkcraft frame. Some wealthy citizens employ hulls as bodyguards or servants. The spirit wardens have been known to use specialized hulls to assist in tracking and capturing rogue spirits or demons in the city. Hulls come in 3 general frame sizes. Small frames are about the size of a house cat. Medium frames are the size of a human. Large frames are the size of a wagon. As cutting-edge technology, hulls are often fitted with a variety of mechanical marvels dreamed up by visionary tinkerers, such as electroplasmic levitation, sound recording, and playback via phonograph, and other wondrous things. So how does that feel for you? Is there something else you'd rather be?
We are also in a write some like workshop, aren't we? Like we're in the, so that's like some fictional justification for.
Yes, we
like,
have that stuff.
Weird shit.
Yeah, we have the stuff that that Cuckoo stole, right? That is in the other workshop, right? From the faction was the Spark Rights, I think.
Shit's gonna get way Frankenstein down in here.
Yeah, the Spark Rights. So is this what you want to work on in like constructing a hull?
Yes, constructing literally like a whole cat.
Okay.
I
love
believe
it.
in form mattering as much as function, so it is going to be an excellent Robo Ghost cat thing.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I'm done.
So let's talk about this project. Are you going to put a cat spirit in the cat frame, or is it going to be a person?
How easy is it to come across spirits?
It is very easy to come across spirits because you are in Doskvol. The ghost field is everywhere.
I'm cracking up at the suggestion that there be a dog in the cat.
I like it. That seems terribly cruel, but you know, you're a weirdo, so
I am a weirdo. And yes, that's an excellent point that I should track down the cart and ask if he can help me get a hold of a spirit, because a cat spirit would be fine. A person would be ideal. I mean, what can he possibly get me? Because I will work with whatever materials I can use.
Yeah. You know, I just recently came across a very powerful spirit. In fact, maybe a bit too powerful for our uses.
Are we going to try to bind Lord Skurlock Stephen into a cat?
Oh, wow. That would
That's a terrible plan.
Dangerous in the extreme.
I mean, that's a project for when we're a little bit like stronger than we are now.
Maybe. I think your tier would definitely hinder your efforts to do that. But we could totally do like a gather information for the cart to find some kind of spirit that's appropriate.
Yes, I'm all for having the cart track down some spirit.
Cool.
And
all right.
Razor is not terribly fussed about what sort it is.
I totally wasn't thinking of all my suggestions in chat as being in-character suggestions, but now I think they totally are.
I enjoy Lou being the increasingly weird devil on my shoulder, but I also just imagine Beetle kind of whispering these things in as we're talking.
Yeah, let's put a dog in a cat body. Oh, how good would a goat spirit be in a cat body? Like getting up on things and like headbutting you.
So just okay, Beetle. Thanks, but the adults are talking now.
Okay. So first of all, we're gonna do the gathering information, and then I will roll up a spirit from the random generation tables, and we'll see what the hell we end up with here.
What a great sentence.
So the gathering information. Ask a question and make an action roll or fortune roll. The GM answers you honestly with a level of detail depending on the effect level. So I'm probably going to get you to roll. Well, actually, I can't tell you what action you're going to roll. You can tell me what action you're going to roll. So the cart, what are you going to do to find a spirit for this?
Yeah. I think survey, maybe, or study. Still, this I don't know.
So study is to study something like very specific. It's like close study of something, right?
Right.
survey.
Could I use a
is
special
like,
ability for this?
do you have one that
Yeah,
would
I have
help out?
compel. Yeah, I have compel. You can attune to the ghost field to force a nearby ghost to appear and obey your command you give it. You're not supernaturally terrified by a ghost you summon or compel. I'm not sure if that's
No, I like that. I think that would give you a bonus die on this roll.
okay.
And another the example that the book offers is to use a tune.
Yeah, I think a tune makes more sense
it's
here.
like for interacting with the ghost field. So
yeah.
so I'm going to get you to attune with a +1d because you got that special ability.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see what you end up with here.
Is it possible to get an assistance on this, or are these individual roles?
I will let you get assistance if someone else has a good idea for how they assist with this ghost hunting.
Beetle's scouring the neighborhood for strange. So we're looking for an actual spirit that's already out. We're not just gonna like kill somebody's pet cat and take the spirit from that cat. That sounds a bit sad.
I think that would be a separate action you would be doing.
Okay. But perhaps can animals see ghosts more clearly than humans do? That's like a pretty common trope that like I can imagine the cats and goats and stuff in like Doskvol like being like watching strangely as maybe Beetle's just like walking around the streets like checking out the animals and stuff and seeing if they start and kind of calling like to triangulate the search or something. That seems like fun.
Yeah, that's fine. So you're going to spend 1 stress to do the help. Yeah, so then you are rolling a tune with +2.
Right.
2d.
And I could push myself too, right? On top
Yes,
of it.
can. You can.
I'm going to do that. I'm also going to push.
Okay, you're up to +3.
So that's +3. Okay, so let's do it. That was controlled, was it?
Well, it's a gather information roll, so it's basically yeah, I'll say this is controlled standard.
Controlled standard.
Yeah.
All right.
There's no time pressure or anything here.
Right, and then +3 dice. What did I do? I got the 5.
Okay, a 5. Okay, so that's a right. So that is a mixed result. I think on a mixed result, well, I will first roll up what it is, and then we'll figure out where this goes. So let's see. We've got a table for streets, buildings, people. Devils. Only devils. Is that correct? Yes. Looks like it. Ghost traits. Interesting.
What page is that? I want to follow along.
Page 304.
304.
So I'm going to get you to first, let's say, we will roll to begin with to decide what kind of ghost it is. So we'll say just get you to roll a D2 to see
2d6.
No, just like 1d2, like just a coin flip to see if it is a person or an animal.
Person.
Okay, so it's a person. So next I'm going to get you to roll 2d6.
Okay. 4 and a 2.
Okay, a 4 and a 2. So that would be a 4 and then a 2. It is a probing ghost. And the secondary effects, I will get you to roll another 2d6.
Same result. Another 4 and a 2.
Okay, so that will be a...
Electrical discharge.
Yes, an electrical probing ghost person.
Okay.
So you got a mixed result. And I think it makes sense here for you to take harm from the electrical discharge as you capture this ghost. So I think this is probably somewhere in Silkshore. It could be somewhere in Six Towers as well, but I think Silkshore might, make sense as a close place to your lair. Where do you think you would go hunting for ghosts?
I know where there's going to be a ghost for sure. That is when Lord Skurlock goes feeding on the marks that I give him. I know there's going to be a ghost there.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
So I don't think it's Lord. Well, is Lord Skurlock the type to clean up after his feeding? I don't know.
I think he's quite fastidious, but
Yeah.
I actually, you know what? I think he would, because he doesn't want to be haunted by his victims,
Yeah, how about
so
seeing as Beetle was kind of helping with the reconnaissance, let's say that they ended up all the way down at the docks, just because I like that.
Yeah, sure.
Of you down at the docks trying to catch ghosts.
Sure. Yeah. So maybe like what kind of ghost this is. Was it like a dock worker or something, or a ferryman?
I like the idea maybe that it's a spark right. It's the ghost of a spark right, maybe, that died in a like he was electrocuted.
Oh yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So it's like somebody who is working on one of the towers, right? These electroplasmic towers, and like just got
perhaps
fried.
and maybe they even worked like in our like where our base is now in the past, so that would be a good reason for them to like be our awesome pet cat in our lair.
Yeah, cool. So hang on, I'm just gonna give them a name because they need a name. So I will
that the list of Kickstarter backers makes a great name list.
That's fair. There's also the name list on 303, but I will say this person is a Dagger Islander, and their name is Arquo Keel. Yes.
We're totally gonna call him Smoochie.
Smoochie the cat. My name is Arquo. I find this most offensive. Okay, so you have you maybe do you have any like arcane implements that you could use to capture a spirit?
I do, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got where is it? Arcane. Yeah, I literally have arcane implements.
Cool. So what does it look like? What kind of thing do you store the spirit in?
I have a spirit bottle.
Nice. I like it. What does that look like? Like, what kind of bottle is it?
Maybe it's this really small but very thick, sort of iridescent, maybe like a crystal-y looking thing. And when you hold it in the light, it catches different colors. But once the spirit is inside it, it just turns into this dark gray or very like smoky color. And
Cool.
so we know that there's something in it.
Oh yeah, and like so I think when you like capture this spirit, you know, you've been searching around, you've been probing, you've been trying to find something in the ghost field, something promising, and you get an instinct that there is something near that one of these towers, and you reach out to it and you pull it in, and it enters the bottle, but when it does, you just feel this electrical discharge, and your body just like seizes up, and you're clinging on to the spirit bottle very, very tightly, and so I think I want you to take. It was a mixed result, right? So I think that counts as
harm.
I think it was like,
okay.
What does it say for mixed result harm? There's a guideline here. It says on a controlled roll, lesser harm. So I'll have you take level 1 harm, and tell me what that looks like. Like how does the harm manifest in your body after you get hit with this electrical discharge?
Yeah. I think I'm holding this vial in my hand, and when the spirit goes into it, there's an electrical discharge of my arm, and so I've got like almost bat-like, hair kind of growing on my arms. That's all scorched.
Okay.
The whole arm is just goes up and like
so
starts burning, and I start patting my arm to put out the flames.
But you have it in your hand, and
yeah, I still have it.
So mark level 1 harm, and write in scorched as your
okay.
what has happened to you.
Okay.
Cool. So you get the spirit. So now it's time for Razor to do their thing. So you're going to start.
Sorry, does this count as a setup? Is it a setup action, or is it just a separate?
I will say, well, the thing is, in a long-term project roll, I don't think effect matters. So what I'm going to say is this gives like an extra die on the roll.
Okay.
And I mean, it's just kind of like a prerequisite to being able to do it at all.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So.
And probably we needed to say that we're doing this as a setup, if we wanted to get that benefit anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think setup actions improve position or effect, but I'm just going to say this is like an extra. I'm going to make a ruling here.
Cool.
So. Here we go. Long-term project. Yeah, it's roll one of your actions. So it's so Razor, what action are you rolling to start to construct this hull? And now that you have the spirit bottle in your possession,
probably tinker.
Cool. Yeah. So what does it look like when you start to construct your feline automaton?
The previous bits of things are mostly forgotten. There's a bit of clearing off a bit of new space and pulling out proper bits of metal, deciding which one she wants for no apparent rubric. Some clearly will work, some won't. They make sense to her, probably. And then pulls out her jeweler's loop and other tinkering things and just gets to fiddling, and totally oblivious, especially to further suggestions about what kind of things ought to go on this, should those come up.
Right. Cool. So you're just like completely in the zone of tinkering the rest of the world is invisible to you. Okay, so I'm going to get you to roll with Tinker plus 1d. And I will add a little detail about the spirit bottle with Arquo. Whenever you touch Arquo's bottle, you sort of like feel something probing at your mind, wants to know what you know.
I imagine that Razor reacts to that with kind of a light brush, like you would a cat that is in the way.
Like
just totally dismissive.
Nice.
Yeah, not yet. You'll have a bodysuit.
Yeah.
Is this controlled or risky? Or
it doesn't matter. It's not an action roll. It's just a fortune roll with your.
Oh, fortune. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, now I can't get that too close. Okay.
With your Tinker plus 1.
So the Tinker plus 1 is the input value notes. Sorry, trying to figure out how this thing works.
Yeah, I think it should just be like. So I will try to do an action or a fortune roll here. I have not used it myself. So
yeah, it popped up an input value and then notes block, and I'm not.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so input value would be your Tinker rating, which is what?
2.
Okay, it's 2, so it's 3. Input value is 3.
Cool. Didn't want to accidentally cheat.
No problem.
More than normal.
So you got a 4. Cool. So that means you get 2 ticks on your long-term project clock to construct a feline automaton. So let's see. Is there something on your sheet that allows you to mark clocks or?
I just created a cat hole clock, but it wants to know how many ticks are on the clock.
There are now 2 ticks on the clock. Or sorry, the total ticks on the clock. Let's see. So I think I'm trying to think about if we need to break this down into stages, and I'm kind of feeling like we don't because we did get the spirit already. So I'm going to say this is a 8 segment clock, and you have 2 ticks filled.
It might also just be like hideously ugly, and we have to like you have to like do some repairs to make it a pretty robot ghost cat later on.
It works perfectly, but I just don't like the body, so I have to start all over again.
Yeah, I think are there like crafting rules that we could use once the project's finished? I think that's a thing, right? Yeah.
Cool. This clock can only be. This is a question. This clock can only be advanced during downtime.
Yes, only by doing a long-term project action.
And we all throw in, like, let's say we each took a turn on this. Would we be able to advance it, or is it just a personal thing?
I think this is a personal thing.
Yeah,
because I think you don't have the know-how to participate in this project.
I see.
Yeah, because you already did your thing, right? You got the ghost, so.
Oh yeah. I'm just speaking in general, like just in terms of the game mechanics.
So I think there are some some long-term projects that would actually be available for multiple people to work on. It's just this one I think is more of a personal project.
Yeah, I got you. It's like if I had the same skill set, maybe I could do something on my turn.
Yeah.
Just as a free play thing, I think Beetle does try get in there like soon after the project has started and like try to do some work on the cat, and I think perhaps like Razor just hears all of this like banging and stuff coming from the like that part of the storeroom. What happens?
Yeah, Razor, what's your reaction to Beetle's crude attempts at tinkering with your masterpiece?
Razor just blows in like sudden storm and there's a flurry of, no, what are you doing? This is all wrong. I had that there, and just like pushing her out of the area.
Yeah, Beetle's like, but I've never had my own pet before.
Well, you don't now, and you won't if you keep moving things.
Okay. And as soon as you look away, she's like back in there, like patting the like unanimated body of the cat again. But she stopped trying to build it now.
I think we're definitely going to have to do some web searching after this to get a nice picture of a robot cat for our group here. Yeah.
I'll definitely try to draw my own teenager who can't draw something version of the crew when we've been playing for a while as well.
I'm just imagining like Beatles drawings for how the robot cat should look. Like, here is a blueprint.
Yeah.
You got to make it look like this. Its name is.
My own personal drawing style is quite similar to that.
I feel like Razor at this point would normally appeal to Lex to get Beetle to just go away, but Lex isn't here now, so Beetle can run free.
Yeah. Where's Lex? What's going on?
Yeah, we'll find out.
We'll find out. So I think that covers everybody except for Beetle's second downtime activity. Is that correct?
No, I'm done because I kind of paired actions, or that's what I was trying to do anyway. I was acquiring an asset and then reducing.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, actually, that doesn't count as acquiring an asset because that's just like a temporary thing. So you can make an action now if you want. You didn't spend a
I guess I think I will just train my prowess, and I'll retcon it back to sneaking around the docks and the city, like watching cats and goats and trying to find where ghosts are. Like, that kind of makes sense.
This is totally like training your prowl, right? By like observing like the cats and stuff.
Sneaking up on a cat is definitely like prowl training technique for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what do you get for per? It's normally 1, but I get 2 because of the
crew upgrade. Yep.
Yeah. Sweet. Okay. Done.
Awesome. Cool. Okay, so I think that covers everybody's downtime activities. We are coming up now on, let's see, so it's just about 9 p.m. here. How are people doing for time?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I can. I feel like I can go for a while longer. I'm not passing out like I was last time.
Right. Okay.
I feel like a stereotypical Australian with these like massive beers that I'm drinking as well. 750 milliliters. I'm almost 1.5 liters of beer in now. So
that's your dinner right there.
Yeah, I can keep going for a while now.
Great.
I can go longer if need be.
Okay, cool. So I think now is a good point to take a little bit of a break, and I will come up with some ideas for some possible scores that you could run. Yeah, so we'll do that.
All right. See you guys in a bit.
Yep. Hey everybody, sorry about that. I started to make something to eat and then I wrote up the score and I got a little distracted. So I'm just gonna have a little something to eat here. But I was wondering how you're feeling this session so far.
Really good. You should scroll up and see my awesome smoochy drawing that I did, Kyle.
It's the best Moochie. Like, this is the flawless blueprint.
I am definitely going to take a look at this.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, I'm having a nice time. I'm was just saying in the chat there that I'm might have to retire Beetle before shit gets too hard for her. I'll see how it goes. That's always like playing a vulnerable kind of character in a setting like this is like kind of hard. It kind of assumes you're playing like a horrible like thug in some ways. Like, but I wanted to play with that contrast a bit, and I do like the option that you can just go, yeah, she managed to like get out of that shit like as part of her like storyline.
Yeah, no, I am notorious for retiring characters to safety. When I was playing World of Dungeons with Tom, I think I went through 3 characters in that campaign. Because sometimes you just want to give them a little bit of a different clothes than being killed and left for dead and stuff.
Yeah, and I am interested to see how the other potentially hardened criminals, if they're like how they react to that softness like in her, and what like that's an interesting thing to me.
Yeah, you've got a lot of options with it.
Yeah, but
how did you feel about spending so much time on downtime?
I liked how it spiraled into character stuff. Like, I would say I'm doing this one bit, and then suddenly everyone was tagging in, and I just outsourced all the work, which is perfect because that's exactly what Razor wants to do. You go do those things for me, and I'll just work here. But it ended up with cool scenes of them catching ghosts and stuff, so I got to listen to neat stuff as well. Total win.
I liked that slow creep from us doing quite mechanical things with a little bit of fiction thrown into actually, I think the relaxing with it, let us have those like character scenes. I think if you are rushing through it, you wouldn't get that as much.
Yeah, there's a little bit of drama there. It's flowed pretty nicely. Everything kind of naturally flowed. Like once you ask the questions and establish what we're doing, it just went where it needed to go. It's cool.
I
was sorry, you go, Kyle.
I feel like you don't actually need like a lot of sort of mechanical interactions in the downtime phase. I tend to sort of like to just get these character scenes and like paint scenes and talk about the setting and all of this kind of stuff, and like provide room for sort of collaboration, like you're saying, because the score can be very focused, and I feel like if you look at the rules for the downtime phase and then based on how sort of like mechanically focused they are, conclude that this is just something you breeze through and then move on to the next score, it can make the game feel kind of like, the criticism I've heard is that like, oh, it feels like a board game. Yeah.
It feels a little more freeform than the rest of the game.
Yeah. And I read that it was like a board game, so sort of expecting this would be a breeze through and we're done, and then 20 minutes later, so what now? But it ended up being much more story game-ish and fun.
But that's how like if you watch that Bloodletters game, like which is the like John Harper play testing the game, they take fucking ages on downtime and do heaps of like free play and all sorts of stuff, and he's totally into that. Like he's not annoyed that his players are like going like, then we do this awesome thing. Like that's why he's made this super rich, detailed world, I guess, is that so people can actually play in it.
Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of like a major misunderstanding that the text might encourage. And like I didn't really get that that's how this game can be played until I watched him GM the game more in like the series he did after he finished it. But he did the same thing there. It was like, oh, we're just going to spend a 4-hour session exclusively on the downtime phase. It's like, okay, you know, let's basically run it like a story game with some very light rules elements.
And if you look at the other games that he's made, you can see that that's totally like his taste in things.
Right, and then like the criticism of this game so much is like, oh, he abandoned all of those things that we loved about his old games, but it's like, no, actually, you can still totally work that into this game.
They're kind of like they're like assumed things that you would just do in like a good game sort of thing.
yeah. So I'm all in favor of that kind of thing, and that sort of pace of play is what I love about Burning Wheel. So I'm happy to have lots of that. So speaking of scores, speaking of more active, fast-paced play, I have one score I was able to come up with. So I'm unfortunately not going to give you any options this time, but next time maybe we'll have some. So I think you've been working on your project here, and things are moving along. But and we'll just assume you're all in your lair, this sort of lock house that's like underneath these other buildings, and into the kind of like dock area where you have your boat. There is a gondola that enters, and you see that the passenger is a Edgar, who you recognize as a servant of Madeline Frog, your friend, and he looks up, and who's in this sort of like dock area at the moment?
Beetle's definitely there, skimming stones in the like across the water.
Sure. So yeah, I think he's gonna turn to you, Beetle, and he'll say, sorry, her name's Adelaide, not Madeline. Adelaide. Yes. So he looks at you and he says, "See, you're making good use of your time. Mind if I enter?"
So do I know who this is? Does Beetle know who this is?
I would assume, like, okay, so definitely some people in the crew will know who this is because you're friends with Adelaide, but
and they've just rolled right up to our hideout as well, right?
Yeah, like they definitely know who you are, right?
Yeah,
I think if you wanted to say like, oh, Beetle doesn't know Adelaide, then that's fine too. But
no,
somebody
I think
does.
Beetle will definitely make them wait though. Beetle will be like, wait here, like don't come up, and
Cool.
go up, and probably who would I get? I guess whoever's she runs into first. Who does she run into first?
Oh, I could be there. You were helping me with the ghost earlier.
Yeah,
so
cool.
Makes sense.
Yeah, maybe you're like re-prepping your weird ghost jar thing or something. I still haven't worked out what I think maybe I don't know what Beetle calls you yet, if she calls you the cart or if she calls you Signet. What do you think she calls you?
How close is our friendship, our comrade.
Hmm.
Camaraderie.
Probably, let's just say she calls you the cart for now, and we'll, yeah, that
Yeah.
makes,
Yeah,
or like
sure.
just, yeah. I think she's like, hey, cart, like
Yeah. What's
there's,
up?
there's
You
some,
have?
we've got, we've got guests. This
Let
guy wants
them
to
in.
come up. Really?
Let them in. Let's see what they want.
Okay, then. So she skips down the stairs. She's like, okay, I guess you can come up. Apparently, they don't even need to know who you are or anything. Fine.
And he looks at you, Cart, and he says, "Oh, we're acquainted." And this is like a big guy. I think he wears like kind of like a double-breasted like coat, and he probably is like in his like 40s. Looks pretty tough, like very square jaw, and yeah, he says, you know, we're acquainted, and he turns to the gondolier and he says, "Wait here, I won't be long," and comes into your lair and says, "Is there somewhere private we can talk?"
He's addressing me specifically.
Yeah, I mean both of you, but kind of more the Cart, because he kind of knows you better, right?
Okay. Yeah, sure. And maybe we take him into a place with few windows and it's more quiet.
Yeah, so it's like a place in the back room or something. There's no like bedrooms or anything in here because we established that you sleep elsewhere. But yeah, there's some kind of storage room or something. You take him into it, and he's like, you know, he's maybe like crouching down like a little bit.
It's quite big.
Yeah, and he says, "My lady has business for you. You should consider yourselves fortunate."
Well, they're always looking for fortune.
As are we all. Have you heard of an organization called the Circle of Flame?
I try to look wise, but I kind of glance over at my buddy here. And
Beetle? Has Beetle heard of the Circle of Flame?
Beetle's gone back downstairs and is suspiciously watching the gondolier float off into the, like, or is the gondolier waiting there?
The gondolier's waiting.
Yeah. I think Beetle's obnoxiously staring at the gondolier. I think maybe he's probably smoking while he waits. I think
Yeah.
Beetle lights up a smoke as well and just like watching him and smoking.
Yeah, because like you your crew does not have good relations with the gondoliers, so that totally makes sense, right? Yeah, so Razor, maybe you walk into the scene here or something.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, I'll walk in, planning to ask the card a question, and so what? Okay, wait, what?
Yeah, so he's asking if you've heard of the Circle of Flame.
We're enemies with them, so I assume we've heard of them.
Yeah, they don't
Just
like
out
you
of, just out of character.
because they are Adelaide's enemies. They do not like you.
Razor kind of does a double take, and yes, we're aware.
And he says, "Good. I'm glad to hear that." They are engaged in an operation, a project, a endeavor of some size and importance that is contrary to the interests of my lady and to the interests of her associates. Many of them are people of great standing and influence in this city. They cannot easily be trifled with, but some of them are more vulnerable, and yet no less important to the operations of the circle. And he like looks at you as like, are you catching my drift here?
Yeah, I nod.
Yeah.
I'm kind of waiting for him to give us the next part.
Yeah, and he's like, have you heard of the painter Raffaello?
I guess my character would have. I have no idea.
Sure, yeah. So maybe you heard of him.
I have heard the name.
There's unfortunately there are no wises in Blades in the Dark, so
artist
I kind of wonder perhaps if like maybe Razor might have heard of them. If I'm thinking because a lot of this seems a little bit Renaissance as well, so I wonder maybe if I kind of, when I think of those type of painters, I think of them like doing that weird natural history stuff, like Leonardo da Vinci dug up graves and shit so that he could study stuff for his paintings. So maybe like you've heard of him in that light or something. Like,
oh yeah, like, oh, the painter. You mean the least interesting of their hobbies? Yes, of course.
Right. And he says, that is a matter of perspective, of course, but
of course,
I gather that your perspective is unusual. And he, you know, like sort of gestures to the formaldehyde smells and like weird stuff everywhere. But he says,
and Razor just looks like this is an unusual amount of words to spend on something that's blatantly obvious. But
yeah, right. He just says, very well. Terseness is in my nature. I will do what comes naturally. And so here's what you know about Raffaello is this Raffaello guy is, as you were saying, kind of obsessive. Somebody who is famous for his sort of like capacity to vividly paint scenes that are not scenes of Doskvol, right? So like scenes of places abroad, people abroad, different times, all that kind of thing. And it's not a clear exactly how he learned how to do this, but he is sort of notorious for that. Aside from that, like, yeah, maybe he has some sort of unusual pursuits and investigations that he's doing. He's always very interested in like exotic things. But that's kind of what you know about him. That's his reputation. So when it comes to explaining the job, you know, Edgar's going to give the terse explanation you want. So he says, Raffaello has arranged a bargain with a buyer for one of his latest works. It is said to be a most unusual masterpiece. He has negotiated an exchange for the painting that will further the interests of the Circle of Flame. We, and by that I mean my lady, do not want this deal to go ahead. And we want you to use your skills to steal the painting. That is all.
I kind of like that without any spiders here to help us, we just totally agreed to the deal with no bargaining or any other. What were you
I
going to
never
say,
see a
Ryan?
bargaining phase. I don't think it happens.
Yeah, so I think as far as bargaining goes, I think is there a thing for there's a thing for that in this?
Is there? I thought that it gets set up when you do the engagement roll, doesn't it?
Yes. And because I remember on the series that John was doing, it definitely came up. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like a natural thing that people would want to do. Like, how much are we going to get paid, sort of thing. Like, no, pay us more.
Yeah. So this is the engagement role is just about position. And I think it may actually just be a thing you do with payoff. Yeah, it is. So, yeah, so we'll say this is like a 6 coin score. Yeah. So, yeah, he says the target is not well defended, but the circle watches their own carefully. We will pay you accordingly. Will you do this?
Well, it is our specialty to acquire goods and knowledge that are otherwise too difficult for our clients.
And he says, good. And like just gives you like a very slight bow and then walks off like past Beetle, who's smoking and staring down the gondolier and just like steps sort of like brusquely onto the gondola so that it like goes down in the water a little bit. And the gondolier's like a little bit flustered and throws away his smoke and starts
It hisses in the water.
Yeah.
Nice touch.
So he's gone into the night. Well, it's always night, but gone into the dusk. So I think we'll say that Raffello's house is let's say I think it's like on the edge of Silk Shore, like facing Crow's Foot, like down there or something. But it still does count as being in your hunting grounds. So that gives you, what is it, a bonus to your engagement roll, was it? Hunting grounds. Okay, so when you prepare to execute an operation of your preferred type on your hunting grounds, you may get +1d to any gather information rolls and a free additional downtime activity to contribute to the operation.
Right.
So
there's 4 of them. Which one did we pick?
As your preferred type?
Yeah, there's burglary, espionage, robbery.
I believe it was espionage, right? but
yeah, on the character sheet, there's no checkbox.
Yeah, so actually, this would be a burglary, so it would not count.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's fine, though. You are still free to do gather information. You have like the basics of who he is, where the place is. That's like, you know, the stuff I told you already about who, like, or what his interests are. If there's anything else you want to find out, we can do a gather information for that. Otherwise, we can just cut to the score.
Let's just smash straight into the score because we've got so many resources to like flashback and do all that shit.
Sure, sounds good to me.
Yeah. Sure.
So,
do we need to do a loadout before we do the jump into it?
Yes. So we are going to choose the detail for the engagement, but I also want you to pick a loadout. So you can pick a light load, a normal load, or a heavy load. And basically that tells you how many items from the list you are able to say you have during the score. You don't pick them in advance, but it's just like a budget for you to use during the score. And the heavier your load is, the more conspicuous you are. So that will like worsen your position, or possibly your effect, that kind of thing. So this job, so first I want you to pick your detail. So which of these are you using to do this job? Is it assault, deception, stealth, occult, social, or transport? Which of these do you think is like the thing that you want to focus on as the way that you're going to get into this job? So assault is like the point of attack. Deception is the method of deception. Detail is the point of infiltration, or sorry, stealth is the point of infiltration. Occult is like an arcane method you're using to do the job. And social would be a social connection you're using to do the job.
Maybe I think we're all probably just talking about it, right? So
yeah, sure.
Maybe stealth.
Beetle's naturally interested in just like finding an interesting way into the place and getting in. Although I guess perhaps it might come up that last time we did that, she totally didn't let you guys into the building once she was in that.
No, I'll do it right this time, I swear. There's not going to be any weird sex things, right?
Yeah, she totally says that.
Yeah, I just throw it out there, either deception or stealth. What do you think, Ryan?
No.
Are you talking, Ryan? Because you totally muted.
Oh, you're muted, yeah.
Yes, I should take myself off mute. That would help. Yes, I was saying that, yeah, I agree. Stealth or deception are the ways to go because we're not really set for anything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that, yeah, there was an important
stealth last
from our
time, right?
previous stealth plan, but
yeah.
Actually, the last plan was social.
Was it?
That was why it ended up being this like weird sex thing. So.
Note to self: don't choose any social scores ever again.
Yeah, if we do social again, we'll lose Beetle halfway through.
Right.
I'm pretty interested in doing the like stealth one, and I guess that can be like those we could end up potentially having those deception components in there.
Sure, yeah.
Oh
with
yeah,
flashbacks,
totally. This is just so if you're doing stealth, you need a point of infiltration.
Yeah.
So I kind of just like want you to do a gather information on this to see what kind of points of infiltration you can figure out.
Yeah, because I've Beetle also has this specific infiltrators like skill, which is about not being affected by the quality or tier when you bypass security measures. But
yeah,
I guess right now
we're on it.
I guess right now we're just potentially finding out where.
This is just going to be
doing this.
Like, well, what kind of places could we use to get in? Like, you know, I want to see if you like find a secret entrance or something like that, right? So,
Cool.
I think I believe it would just be like, so I'm going to get you to make a roll of one of your actions. Which action would you like to use in order to case this place?
I'm just gonna go with Prowl. I guess she's sneaking around and trying to casing the place. I guess. I mean that would
usually be survey.
Study, or survey,
studies like usually like studying something very specific, whereas like surveys like figuring out a scene,
or a situation.
Yeah, it's the read a sitch of these options.
I still I mean I kind of picture doing that moving around unseen sort of thing and like jumping across rooftops like as a quite active.
Okay, so this is like you're actually like crawling all over the building, kind of.
Yeah, I'm not trying to like power game it, but like that's how I want to see her like in action, like in terms of like she's moving around the whole, like all of the rooftops and like, you know, like sneaking. It's not just hunkering down and watching.
Okay. Yeah. So I think we'll say. You can roll with Prowl. Maybe. Yeah, just roll with Prowl. We'll see how it goes. Gather information.
Got a 6.
Nice. Okay, so you get some like really good information.
Got a Beetle.
Yeah. So I think for like really good information, it would be something like there is an adjoining building from which you can enter into like the 3rd story window, and it's going to be even fairly easy for the other members of the crew to get in.
I'm picturing some sort of building that's happened like after the original building was built, and they've totally screwed the security of the building.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's going to be the point of infiltration will be the 3rd story window. And next you choose your loadouts. What are you thinking? What's everybody thinking here?
I went with a light loadout.
Okay.
Later 2 arcane implements and subterfuge supplies.
So you don't pick those yet, actually. You pick them when you want to use them. It's like your loadout is just going to tell you what your budget is.
Yeah, gotcha.
You can spend up to that level, but you don't have to pick in advance. So then that means that you're free to choose whatever is the most valuable at the moment.
Yeah. I'm going with the light. In fact, I'll just go ahead and mark light, and then when I need the stuff, I will mark it.
It's like very similar to adventuring gear in Dungeon World.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I really like this setup, actually. It's really, really smart.
Yeah. So Beetle, what are you thinking?
I was thinking normal, but if like someone else is going light, it seems like some sort of sneak thief should also be light. So I'll do light as well. If we're
I was
going
thinking light just for stealth, but if the sneak thief wants to be armed to the teeth, then I could do that instead.
Beetle's just like like all those here.
She's
Nah,
not
he-
getting surprised this time around. She's prepared for anything.
Yeah,
Good.
prepared for all the freaky naked people. No, I think she's just light as well. She's got a point to prove.
Okay, so is that 3 lights we're talking here? Okay, cool. So now we're going to move on to the engagement roll. We start with 1d for sheer luck. Is this operation particularly bold or daring? I would say no. Is this operation overly complex or contingent on many factors? No. So we're still at 1d. Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're the weakest? I would say yes, so that puts us up to 2d. Is the target strongest against this approach, or do they have any particular defenses or special preparations? No. Can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight for this operation? Yes, you got this job from a friend, so we'll move it up to 3 dice. Are any enemies or rivals interfering in the operation? Yes, so we'll move it back down to 2 dice.
Absolutely.
Yes. Are there any other elements you want to consider? Maybe a lower tier target will give you plus 1d. Maybe a higher tier target will give you minus 1d.
What about my when does my infiltrating skill come into play? Like, is that during this engagement?
Yes.
Roll?
It will be when you actually try to sneak somewhere during the score.
Cool.
So I'm thinking we're gonna actually end up. So we're at 2 dice, and I think because they are definitely a higher tier target. I think we're going to go back down to 1 dice or 1 die. So just roll that 1 die for the engagement roll.
Go, Ryan.
Yeah, we believe in you.
Oh no.
Go. It's a fortune roll 1d.
Haha, it's a 6.
Awesome.
Oh!
Nice. Okay. So good result. You're in a controlled position when the action starts. So that makes a lot of sense. You basically carefully have made your way through the adjoining building. You're all decked out in light gear, so it's not obvious that you've come here to do anything dastardly. There's maybe like a hallway that like adjoins to this window, and then like you like pry it open, and there's like a little bit of like a as you move it, and like there's like dust and stuff moving down, and then you see the window on the opposite side, and you just like slowly open it, and I guess like Beetle, are you going in first? Cool. So
That makes sense, yeah.
yeah. So, you know, we see Beetle's like small form just kind of like step across the narrow distance between these 2 buildings, and you come out on the 3rd floor of the house. You're in a controlled position, so there's nobody on this floor. There's no lights. You see, I think like there's like a sort of like a queen size bed, which is kind of like in a weird position. Like, so it's a queen size bed, but the decor of this room is not like normal bedroom decor. It's kind of like the person who got this bed just got the bed. They didn't get all the other furniture that's supposed to go with the bed. So it looks like very out of place, but there's this large bed. The sheets are all messed up. They're not, the bed isn't made. And in the rest of the room, you see like, on the floor, there's quite a nice Eruvian rug that has been laid across the floor. And then aside from that, there are just like various boxes of different extractions. Like some of them are kind of like crates, other ones are like more decorative boxes. They're kind of all over the place. And it's just very disorganized, this scene. You can notice that there are stairs down to the lower level, and there are also stairs up to the attic. What do you do?
Were we given any like suggestion about where we would find the painting in this whole building, or we just know that there's a deal going down, and so we're trying to find his studio, maybe, like where he paints in the
Yes.
the
Like I
house?
think the only really useful information you got from that conversation was that the painting in question is something that's like still being painted. It's not quite finished yet. Yeah.
You know,
Interesting.
if this were a real studio, they'd probably be wanting to have the windows facing where the natural light is, but given that there's no actual natural light, they probably have gas lamps. They probably have lamps set up for lighting.
Yeah, I mean there's like the plasm lights, right? So like I think this guy is just wealthy enough to afford lights that actually use plasm instead of just the Leviathan blood in some kind of quicker form. So yeah, there are like kind of like what you would imagine old whale oil lamps look like, except these ones are quite a bit nicer, and they emit like a much whiter light when you turn them on. It's more of like an electric light than an actual like whale oil light.
I imagine it's probably still
Do these lights have any kind of cabling, or is it just oil?
I think it's kind of like you fit a cartridge into them. I don't think there's like a central energy supply to this house in particular. I don't think he's wealthy enough for that.
Got you.
It's probably still nice to like look across the city while you're painting, right? Even if like natural light isn't flowing into the house. There's probably some like twinkling of lights in the distance.
Yeah, I mean the moon comes out, right?
Yeah,
stars and stuff, you know.
Oh,
I
so
like
maybe
to think we
the
came in the
moonlight.
window and immediately start arguing about painting in Doskvol.
Yeah, I think
Because
that's what
if we want to pick up painting, how would we do it?
I think that's what we're doing. We're arguing in the room about
So-
where you would have an art studio. Beetle's sure that it would be in the attic because that's where
Let's
she
try
would
the
have
attic.
it.
Okay,
Because
so
There's got to be fewer rooms up there than there are down.
all right, so I think this is going to be I want to see a group action here.
Yeah, I was going to suggest maybe Beetle's leading a prowl kind of.
Makes sense
Well,
to
that's-
me. And
that's cool.
so this is where you're not going to be affected by the enemy tier, right? Because
I'm seeing all
You're-
of the little booby traps and stuff, the awesome booby traps, right?
yeah, like I mean, it's kind of abstract, like why the tier makes it dangerous to be in here, but we'll figure it out as we do the action roll. So you're in a controlled position, and everybody's going to roll for this. And the person who is leading is going to take stress for every miss that you get. So
Okay.
everybody's going to roll prowl. Your position is controlled standard.
Go, Beetle.
Okay, cool. So it's a 6, a 4, and a 5. So you're not going to take stress.
Yes.
Yeah, very good. So
Unscathed.
you I think So the result that you take is the highest result, which is a 6. So in a controlled position with a 6 and standard effects. Oops, here it is. So you do it. That's all it says. You do it. So you're all like, you all quit arguing about painting and painting configurations, and Beetle's just like, you know, waving you up, and you like quietly make your way up the attic, and it's like, you know, the wood starts to creak at one point, but then like you just like take your foot off of the step and make it up there. In the attic, it's like a, you know, a steepled house, or a steepled roof. So it's kind of like this triangular space, not especially tall roof, but tall enough that you don't really have to hunch very much. And in here, you see that it's completely empty except for an easel and one stool that is set in front of it with some painting supplies at its feet, and there is one of the plasm lamps that has been moved up here. It's like one of those like Coleman lamps, that camping lamps that you can get, and it's just been like set at the side, and yeah, the rest of the room is just completely empty. There's nothing in here except for these this painting equipment.
But there's no canvas.
Yes, there is a canvas on the easel. Sorry.
Oh, there is a canvas.
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder what it is. Is it covered? Is it covered with a cloth, or is it?
I think it is covered. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I quickly take a look at it. Just lift up the cloth to see if this is indeed the painting we're looking for.
Yeah. Okay. So you lift the cloth up, and you are kind of, as soon as you look at it, I think you're mesmerized. And I think. I
Defy danger.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, I want you. I think the way that this should. Oh, right. I just tell you what happens, and then you can resist. That's how this works in this game. So yeah, I'll tell you what happens. You look at this painting, and you are almost overcome because of the colors that you see and the scenery that you see. The rest of you maybe are not looking at the painting. You're kind of closer to the stairs, and it's obscured because it's facing the opposite direction. But the scene that you see in the painting is unlike anything you have seen in your life. It is bright and lively, and it is a landscape of the world before the Sundering. And it is just so vivid. And you find yourself overcome by it. And I want you to. I'm just going to say that you will take a level 2 harm.
Oh wow!
For looking at this, but
yeah,
you're free to resist. I will. You know, you're always free to resist any consequence, right? So.
Yeah, I'd like to try to resist it. I don't think I would want to give in to it like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's do the resistance roll. Now, the resistance roll, it is with your...
Is it resolve?
Yeah, I think it's the relevant attribute, not your highest.
Mental strain or willpower?
Yeah. So I believe this will be resolve, yes. So roll with resolve, and we'll see how much stress you take.
Okay, now with these resistance rolls, does push or any assistance come into play with this?
No,
or is
you
it
just roll it.
thing?
You just roll
Okay,
it.
so I just get 2 dice. I'm going to go ahead and just roll it. I guess I just hit this, right? Hit the resolve button. Bonus dice. No bonus dice. I'm assuming this is how it works.
Cool, you got a 6.
Whoa!
So you didn't get a crit, but what it means is that you are not actually spending any stress. Because it's six stress minus your highest result, so you spend 0 stress. So yeah, what does it look like as the cart resists like the sort of like almost sublime assault of this otherworldly beauty upon his psyche?
Yeah, so this painting is pulling me in, and I'm completely drawn into all of the colors and lights, and my brain is wandering into weird places. I'm even thinking, like, in my back of my head, how the hell did Raphael know what the world looked like before? And then as I'm thinking this, the other part of my mind is wanting to stop, because I realize this thing is starting to take power over me. So the hand that's holding the cloth is trembling, and like this thing is trying to will me to pull the cloth off to reveal it entirely. But at the end, I cover it.
Right. So you cover it up again. And then what do? Do you like take the painting covered?
Yes, I wrap it up.
Okay.
Keep it safe. Hand it over to I would hand it over to Razor.
Okay. So yeah,
Just
Razor, you maybe get the indication here that it's best not to look at the painting.
Powerful stuff, huh?
Beetle really wants to look at the painting now, just because we're not meant to look at it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to get that scene. So here's what I'll say. I'm just going to get you to do one more prowl group action to see if something comes up. Just roll as before, and if it succeeds, then you're going to get away scot-free. So let's see how this goes.
I'm happy to lead it again, because it makes sense in the fiction that Beetle's going to lead us back out again.
Yeah. This is why I didn't give you that painting.
Okay.
Beetle sneaks good.
Sorry, so it's prowl, right? We're doing?
Yeah, prowl. Yeah.
And it was is it controlled?
Controlled standard, yeah.
Controlled standard, okay.
Okay, once again, no ones. So yeah, you get a 6. You're in a controlled position. As long as there is so I'll say this. If you want to try to steal some of Raphael's other possessions from this third floor, you can do that in order to get some extra coin from the score. But otherwise, you can just get out.
I'd also kind of like to see Beetle, maybe just because I rolled so well, like find some sort of like maybe when we opened the window initially as we're like coming back.
Hmm.
There's like some sort of like little hourglass, like a sand thing that's like timing down to, you know, set off a little couple of cogwheels and stuff. And I think she's just like, oh, like she sees it as she's coming back, and she just like puts her knife in it, and it was going to set off some sort of alarm system or something like that, just because I want to have the benefit of rolling awesome and being all sneaky and shit.
No, I mean, they're bypassing security, so yeah.
But also, let's totally rob the third floor.
All right.
Yeah, let's
So,
stand them out. I'm
um,
all for it.
so I think let's say we're gonna make a fortune roll here to see if this causes any problems. And I think it'll be. I'm just going to give you the one die because your imperviousness to the tier here does not come into play. So even if you have advantages, I think they're kind of negated by just like the tier of the opponent. So one of you needs to roll 1d6 to see how this this all plays out.
Do you want to roll, Larry?
I've been rolling a bit. I'm gonna pass it off to one of you two. Let you have the glory.
Go, Ryan.
Ryan, go.
Oh no, I'm once again the fortune. Oops.
Okay,
that's
a miss. So I'm gonna say you get you do find something of value. You find I think it's probably like a inside one of the crates. You find a sort of intricately inlaid Eruvian jewelry box. So it's like kind of like packed in like straw and stuff, but clearly valuable. Doesn't have any jewels within it. However, it does have you know, just the case itself is clearly valuable. It's a work of art.
So pretty.
Yeah, and and you know, you've been digging through some things, you find something valuable. Who do you think finds it? It's probably Razor who finds this, right? Because you know, you made the fortune roll. So what does it look like when you finally find something like, oh, this is gonna pay?
I'm still hauling this covered canvas around with me as I'm looking.
Yeah, right. Like one hand.
So Razor's not even looking, just leaving that to Beetle and the cart. But as she turns, kind of bumps into something, jostles, and like almost drops the painting.
Yeah.
Almost knocks this on the ground, but instead realizes, oh, hey, you know, what is this? Beetle, is this worth something? Is this important?
Beetle's eyes go like really, really big. Like almost cartoon big.
Beetle got something there.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna say you look at each other. You know, Beetle's eyes go really wide, and in that moment of distraction, from the second floor emerges onto this floor a gray cat, and it sees you, and it just starts meowing like, and you hear a voice from below saying, what is it? Is it another mouse, another rat? What do you do?
I think we should piss bolt. if that's a term that people that aren't from Australia understand.
I'm afraid not.
For the next sentence for context.
Piss bolt just means you know what bolt means, right?
Yeah.
Bolt just means
Oh, okay.
run for it. Piss bolt means run particularly fast.
I assumed it would leave, but I was waiting to be proven wrong.
It means leave quite quickly.
Yes. It's an old Doskvolian saying, you know, common among the thieves.
I don't speak thieves can't.
Yeah, right. So I think you were in a controlled position. I think your position became risky because of that, but you can get out of there. Or actually, what I will say is you're going to take a heat because of that.
The cat.
The cat spotting you, and then like Raffaello like coming up just as you're leaving, right? Like maybe sees like some figures leaving the distance with like a conspicuously like white cloth over some large object. And yeah, you like hear him like yelling from behind you, like, "Hey, stop thieves!" But you're already away. So yeah, -1 to faction cat. So we'll do the payoff because yeah, you rolled super well on that job. So there's like very little complications here.
Besides all the harm that the cart took.
You resisted that.
It wasn't all from that.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, so
it wasn't from that. It was from before.
No problem.
Oh, right. I was getting mixed up with the too harm there.
From my vampiric entanglements.
Right. So this is effect action break payoff. Here we are.
We're totally going to use that cat fur to put awesome fur on Smoochie, right?
I like that it's the sweet innocent one of us who proposes that we steal and skin a cat.
Yeah, right. This is out of character. This is player level, Lou, not. No,
I think maybe Beetle wants to make the ideal pet. That's totally Beetle totally wants to skin the cat.
Razor is unusually proud of Beetle in this moment because she finally understands that to make one good cat, you must sacrifice several insufficient cats along the way.
Right.
No, on a player level, I feel very uncomfortable with skinning cats.
On a player level, I am also uncomfortable with this plan, but
on the character level,
Razor has no scruples. So
taxidermy is great. Yeah. So, have you heard about this this guy who like taxidermied his cat and turned it into a drone? This is. I feel like it's pretty close to what we're doing with this crew here.
I think I saw something about that. I don't know if it was a real cat that I saw.
Yeah, it was a real cat. Yeah, he's like, oh, I wanted my little buddy to be with me and also a drone. Like what?
Man. People are pretty crazy.
Ill, but also that's exactly what Razor is planning to do.
Exactly.
With the plasmic limitation on Smoochie. But Smoochie needs to have many legs and guns. So
yeah.
And apparently wings and propellers as well now.
Yeah. Right.
He said that we could like ectoplasmically levitate. Smoochie can be like ghost float and also spider crawl and also guns.
Oh. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, well, I'm seeing where this is going. It's going to be quite a crafting endeavor.
I don't think Smoochie's going to have any of those things, but you know, they're on the blueprints.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. You know, but let's do the payoff here. So 2 rep per default or by default, plus 1 rep per tier higher. So you are going to take.
Who's going to be the secretary here? Should I?
Yeah, who's you want to go ahead and do that?
I'll do it. Sorry, can you go from the start then?
Yeah, so we are currently at 5 rep. And you're lucky, actually, because if you keep the operation completely quiet so no one knows about it, you earn 0 rep. But because you got spotted, that's not the case. So yeah, so you get 5 rep for that.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Just keep that in mind next time. Make sure we get spotted on the way out.
Yeah, if you go completely quiet, it's not so good. So the crew earns coin based on the nature of the operation. So as I said, you get 6 coin. It's going to be split 3 ways, so you each get 2 coin. And most districts have crime bosses. They expect smaller crews to pay a tithe from their scores. I think this is a pretty standard job. So I think what it actually is yeah, like the gondoliers are kind of the bosses of your district, right? Your hunting grounds. And like because that gondolier was there when the job was negotiated, they got word of it. And so they're gonna get you to pay them a coin to you know, not fuck with your shit. So one of you is gonna have to take 1 less coin.
I think maybe Beetle will maybe it's that same guy that they were like smoking.
Oh yes,
before.
absolutely.
Like let's say it's like a little like flash forward to like he just rocks up at the thing. He's like, hey, like, you know, I know where your hideout is. We know what you did. Like, just give us like, you know, whatever. I think maybe, you know, she gives him like a little painting or something that she
here's the thing.
Yeah.
You get an extra coin because you got that box and you could give him the box.
To what's in the box?
There's nothing in the box. It was just a really valuable box, right?
I'll totally give them a really nice empty box.
Yeah.
Maybe he even thinks that there's something in the box and that's why there's the like continued animosity, like our relationship doesn't change at all. And he's just like, it's just a really nice box.
This guy is totally going to show up again. I'm going to give this guy a name.
Perfect.
I'm like, you can have this box and whatever's inside of it.
You could put a note in there.
Yeah,
put a note in there.
It just says "fuck you."
Yeah. So
maybe it's one of his cigarette butts.
The smoking gondolier.
What's his name?
Aldo.
Cool.
That's great.
And yeah, and so I think there's like a handoff, right? Probably Edgar stops by later. But before that, I do want to see that is Beetle going to take a look at this painting before the handoff happens?
I kind of like if it's that same scene with Razor again, where like we see her like sneaking down the stairs. Maybe it's ready to like. And she like we just see an over the shoulder camera, and she's like reaching out, and she starts to lift up the thing again, and Razor's just like, if you're happy with that relationship to continue, like what? It just looked like it was.
I mean, Razor wants to look at it too, but she's not going to let Beetle be the one to look at it. No.
So does Razor look
neither
at
of them.
Yeah, Beetle leaves. Does Razor look at
it? Yeah.
Nothing good will come of it.
So are you taking a look, Razor?
Assuming the card hasn't told me definitely don't look at this painting, then yeah, Razor's gonna sneak a look as soon as Beetle is out of the way, because, you know, do as I say, not as I do.
Right. So the cart, did you happen to mention that this thing is pretty dangerous?
Oh yes, I'm going to advise them both very strongly that this painting nearly took me.
That's why Beetle wanted to look at it.
Yeah, it's like
looking more at my vice and stuff, I think that doesn't discourage me at all.
Okay, cool. So actually, let's if this is cool with you, let's do this by way of your vice roll.
Okay.
Indulge vice. So you can
even though I only have 1 stress, this is going to go so badly.
Yeah, and I kind of want to just like do it because it's like the consequences are perfect, right? So you're just gonna one downtime
it
action.
works because this cannot go well.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah. So let's see how this goes. So the vice roll, I believe, is
There's a handy indulge vice button.
oh nice.
I don't have any bonus dice, I assume.
No.
I don't know what a 4 means, but I assume it's not good.
So you clear your 1 stress. That's nice. Yeah, you needed a 1 to not get screwed here.
Oh, well, heck.
And let's see the vice. There are numerous things you can do with this. So 156. Okay, so overindulgence. If your vice roll clears more stress levels than you have marked, you overindulge. By the way, what is your vice?
My vice is weird, and I just put science because the strange essence is whatever I can get a hold of.
Okay,
the weirder and more dangerous, the better.
I think this counts. Yeah, vice is not a reliable, controllable habit. It's a risk, and one that can drive your character to act against their own best interests. When you overindulge, you make a bad call because of your vice in acquiring it or under its influence. To bring the effect of this bad decision into the game, select an overindulgence from the list. So you can attract trouble, creates an additional entanglement. You can brag about your exploits. You can get lost. Your character vanishes for a few weeks. Or you're tapped and your current purveyor cuts you off. So maybe this is, well, I don't know. It's up to you to choose. What do you think is the most appropriate? I mean, I kind of think Lost is the most appropriate, but I'm not going to make you. I'm not going to make you play another character next session just because I think it's cool. Yeah, you think it's like an entanglement or?
Well, what does entanglement mean in this case? I'm not.
So it's select or roll an additional entanglement. So we haven't rolled the first entanglement for this job yet, so we might as well do that, and then we'll see where this ends up. Okay, so this job, I think, Lou, the result I would characterize as contained standard exposure. So that means 2 heat. +1 heat for a high profile or well-connected target. Yes, it's he's well connected. So that's 3 heat. Add 1 heat if the situation happened on hostile turf.
It was right on the edge of our own.
I'm going to say no to that. I don't think that was quite it. 1 heat if you're at war with another faction. No. 2 heat if killing was involved. Killing was not involved. So that is 3 heat plus the extra 1 you took. So you've got 4 heat on the tracker. So that will put you up to 4, right? Because you were at 0.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're still not at a wanted level. So we're going to roll the entanglements. So if you can just roll a d6.
I can do that, like a fortune dice. Will I roll it as a fortune dice?
Just 1. Yep, absolutely.
We would have been wanted if we hadn't cleared that before.
Oops, it rolled 2, but let's just take the first one, I guess.
Okay. The first one was
a 3.
A 3. Okay, so gang trouble or questioning. Yeah, I think that's going to be questioning.
Oh no.
The bluecoats grab an NPC member of your crew or one of the crew's contacts to question them about your crimes. Who do the bluecoats think is most vulnerable? Make a fortune roll to see how much they talk, or pay the bluecoats off with 2 coin. So I think they're probably going to question your contact, Lou, because she's so publicly obvious, right? It was.
I was also Telda.
Yeah, Tilda. Yeah. So I think they're going to question her. Do you want to pay the coin to buy them off, or do you want to see how much she talks?
I'll totally throw Telda a coin. That makes perfect sense.
Two coins, and it goes to the bluecoats, not to her.
Oh man, fucking blue! I don't want to give money to bluecoats.
that's where it gets you. It's like, oh yeah, I'll help out my pal. It's like, oh, actually, the bluecoats.
No, fuck that. I'm not giving the bluecoats money. Let's see how Telda goes in questioning.
All right,
She's gonna squeal.
You're gonna roll 1 more d6.
Okay, I'm just gonna roll it as a d6 this time because
no problem.
Bloop. Wait, why aren't you blooping?
I heard the bloop.
Oh yeah, it blooped. It was a 3 again.
Okay, so you're gonna take an extra 2 heat.
Fucking hell, Telda.
Yeah, I think maybe you told her something about the job, or word got around from one of her little birds.
Yeah, like maybe she mentioned something about I said I was smoking with a gondolier the other day, and it was weird because they hate us or something, and so the bluecoats are heading towards that gondolier now or something.
Yeah, I like it.
Lord Skurlock didn't do a very good job of getting these bluecoats out of here.
Oh, you don't want to tell him that. He did his job.
Good job, Lord Skurlock. Perfect.
Yeah, excellent work. Excellent.
I can't even think that in my own head. Demonly.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to do here is you are going to pick another entanglement. Ryan.
Although I don't think I can make next week, so why don't I just get conveniently lost in my vice?
Cool. I like it. I like it a lot. So what does it look like when you look at the painting?
Well, that is far too many oohs for one painting. There's a lot more colors than I would expect to see in any one painting, but it feels oddly real, like he's tapped into something, and I just can't quite place it. But I feel like there's an answer here somewhere if I could just study it longer.
Yes. So this is like you become fixated, like you can't like, is it like you go off into like some, like your house where you actually live, and like you just like well, you can't take the painting with you, but what would it be? Would you be like searching for information about it, or what makes you lost?
So immediately after sneaking a look at the painting and finally tearing herself away because the painting can't go live in the lab, much as she might like it to, Razor just like leaves, possibly walking right past Beetle perfectly, muttering about, the colors aren't right, and just disappears for weeks. She's probably somewhere trying to recreate this somehow, but she just can't do it.
Yeah,
she's not
manages to pull herself together enough to be like, don't look at the painting on the way past.
Yes, on the way up, don't touch anything.
Yeah, I like it. It's like some kind of like Lovecraftian, like otherworldly color thing going on, right? Like
I glimpse the void and have to go attempt to write down in another language so Beetle can never read it.
Okay,
so maybe that perhaps you're like wandering the city like searching for the colors that you
Yes.
see in there. Like you've got to find every single like color that you've seen in the painting.
And how do we even make those colors? You can't get those colors here. We don't have those dyes, and
Those colors don't exist.
Yeah, so I think I want you to actually start a new long-term project, which like just spend your other downtime activity to do this, and this is going to be to find the uncanny pigments or something like that, right? It's like an eight segment clock.
Oh,
okay. Do I have any progress in that, or is it just
you're just gonna roll for it? So, what action would you roll with?
I think survey, because I'm trying to gather information about color.
I like that.
I don't have anything in survey.
So you're gonna roll 2d6 to take the lowest.
Well, they're the same, so.
Okay.
not bad.
Okay. 4. So that means that you get 2 ticks on the clock.
Okay.
Cool.
Two ticks on the color wheel.
Yeah.
But those are both red. I'm a failure.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, I think we've covered it. Edgar basically takes the painting away. Gondolier shoots you a dirty look. All that happens. The blue coats are kind of, they're asking around about you, but you haven't quite hit a wanted level yet. And we'll maybe see what our spiders have been up to next time. So just to finish up the session, we'll do the end of session questions. So we'll do the crew ones.
I'm happy to keep being crew admin.
All right, that works. Thank you. Okay, so your crew-specific XP trigger, which is where does it say that? Yes. Execute a successful espionage, sabotage, or theft operation. Yes, you did that. That is 1 XP for that. Contend to challenges above your current station. Yes, you get an XP for that. Bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one. So your reputation is weird, and I think that you definitely did that with your like ghost stuff that you did,
and that our street doctor's now wandering around the city asking about strange colors that don't exist.
Yeah, I'm totally down for that. So that's
we kidnapped a cat when we were meant to be stealing a painting.
I stole a painting and 1 cat. What could they be up to?
And express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew. I feel like we did that.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Shadows. We did the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like we also sort of like started to get an idea of what like the essential nature of this crew is, right?
And some of the relationships.
Yeah,
that sort of stuff, especially the stuff with Lord Skurlock and the like long-term projects and all of that stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you get all of the XP. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4 XP you get for your crew. And now the PC advancement. So for desperate actions, make sure you mark an XP for every time you roll desperate. I don't think we rolled any desperate actions in this session. Your playbook specific XP trigger. So let's see. So specific trigger for the cart. Addressed a challenge with knowledge or arcane power. You definitely did that with the ghost capturing thing, right?
Right. Yeah. Now I can mark it here as a playbook advancement, or
Yes.
as a
or
under an attribute.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna do. Yeah, I'm gonna put it under here. It was under resolve, I think.
Yeah, you may mark end of session XP on any XP tracks you want.
Okay.
So let's say that. Yeah. The next one is you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. What do you think there?
Heritage is weird. Oh wait, that's my advice.
The Lord Sherlock stuff's like a backstory. Like is a
that was a
relationship.
backstory. I don't feel it was like a trade thing though. Background is trade, right? So, do you feel like the Taikarosi thing came into this at all?
Not really.
Okay.
Not particularly. Where's drives? I'm trying to find where that is.
Yeah, I don't.
Beliefs and drives, I don't see that where that is like specifically pointed out.
Yeah, and I actually think that drives is not something that's like even mechanized in the game. So like I would say that like I definitely felt that when you decided to read the book.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Stuff like that is just coming out of my personal like agendas, but yeah, I don't know how these just.
I think you get a belief. When is it? It's later in the game you get a belief.
Okay. What about the drive?
And I don't think drives are like mentioned anywhere except here. So I feel like I'm gonna like personally, I feel like that is an XP because yeah, you kind of like did something that your character wanted, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you should get one for it for sure.
Yeah, it's your character's beliefs and drives are yours to define session to session. Feel free to tell the group about them when you mark XP.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So establishing that relationship with Lord Skurlock and getting him to get the blue codes off of us seems like a something I would have been driving towards.
Yeah. Well, and then also just like reading the book, right? Because that was your whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, and you struggled with issues from your vice or traumas.
No.
Don't think so, right?
No.
Okay. Next, let's do yours, Lou.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to write down under harm. I know I took a level 2 harm. What was that level 2 harm?
Yes. So we need to come up with a name for it. But Nate, this was from. Hang on.
Yeah, I know I got scorched with the electricity. I got that.
That was the one, right?
You took level 2 harm from looking at the painting.
Yeah, the 2 harm was from looking at the painting, but then you resisted it, so it doesn't count.
Okay, that's right. Okay, cool.
Okay, so let's move on to Beetle.
I addressed a challenge with stealth or evasion, so I guess I get one for that.
Yeah, sure.
You expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I reckon that's another. I did the underworld
background, definitely. I feel that.
Yeah. Not so much the Taikarosi thing, but then so another one for that.
Yep.
And you struggled with. No, I didn't struggle with.
Yeah.
Any.
Vice or trauma. Yeah. So and then finally, Razor. You're going to get more XP.
I didn't address the challenge with technical skill or mayhem. I don't think.
What about the cat?
I mean,
Oh, that was kind of creating a challenge that I could address.
yeah,
but,
that.
But a project's pretty challenging, right? I reckon you should get one for it.
I found
Okay,
something by knocking it over. That's not quite mayhem.
Here's the opposite case I'll make, like, because it's up to you ultimately, not up to me. But I will say,
Okay.
the only reason why you wouldn't want to mark an XP for that is because you could then mark an XP every time you do a long-term project, and we didn't have to roll an action roll for that.
Yeah, I just feel like that's something. I guess maybe you don't there, but you definitely get it for background or character then, because it's something
100%.
that your character would do. So maybe leave it there.
True. I feel like I did put a lot of background and drives in this.
100%.
So I'll take one.
Yeah. And
So
then,
will you get? Would you? Because the option is you get one or two, right? You do it two if you get it. Do it.
If you like if you really pushed it, then you get 2 XP from it. So is everybody feeling a 2 or are you feeling a 1 here?
I just reckon with the oh no, wait, you're gonna get 2 for your bias thing, aren't you?
Well,
I would agree with that 100%. So yeah, let's say you get 1 from the beliefs, drives, heritage, or background, and then 2 from your vice.
Yeah,
so that gives you 3 XP. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I felt silly taking 2 for both of those, but I felt like I pushed them both pretty hard.
Yeah. Cool. Right. So that is the end of session stuff. Yeah. So just a quick. So Lou, please, can you clarify for me? It was your alternative to Roses and Thorns. I'd like to give it a shot.
Okay, yeah. It's just I pretty much just stole it from my daughter's school teacher. It's called Stars and Wishes. So it's stars are things that you liked about the session, and wishes. It's just Thorns sounded a bit scary, and I upset my friends a couple of times giving them Thorns in Gauntlet games. So like wishes is they can still be super constructive, but it's more forward.
Yeah, it's like, what would you like to see in the future, right?
Yeah, and you can still refer to something that happened in the game. Like it's meant to still be a constructive thing. So you're like, this happened, but hey, let's heaps, like, I'd really like to do this next time. It kind of adds a forward-looking component to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, why don't we start with the stars, which are like equivalent of roses, like something you liked about the session. Why don't we start with you, Ari?
Yeah, I particularly like this synergy between the characters that's starting to come together. We're understanding our roles and some of our weaknesses, and that started to play into the things we did. Also liked Lord Skurlock. That was a lot of fun playing that out.
Yeah, it was fun to get to play him, and I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of him in the future.
Yeah, I have no doubt. That's candy.
And I did tell you to take a clock for what was it? His or the demon's sort of influence on you, right?
Where do I put that?
I believe it is.
Is that a note? I put that under my notes, I guess.
It's right above notes. You can add a clock, and then it'll ask like what you want to call it, how many.
Okay, cool. And how many ticks was that? Was that clock? 6.
I'm gonna say this clock. Yeah, let's say a six segment clock, and you've got. Let's just add 1 tick on there for the moment.
Okay.
And it's Setarra, Cetera. So her gaze upon you, her interest in you.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. So
interesting. There's a sort of a Middle Eastern influence on this game with the Eruvians, and Sitara, it means star in Farsi.
Oh, nice! I love that so much because you know, the sea is full of stars, right? After the sundering, like there are stars above and stars below on the ocean.
I just noticed that right now. Yeah, it's
And
interesting.
she is like a sea demon, so that's super cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, Lou, do you have a star for?
Yeah, like I'm just lovely to play with you all. Obviously, that goes almost without saying. But I really loved your descriptions this evening, Kyle, like of the
Thank you.
setting and stuff. It was really lovely. Like just they were really lovely little flavor points, like with Lord Skurlock, and the like really narrow, like some of the spatial stuff you were doing was super cool. Like and you did it in multiple locations. I think so. That was kind of cool. It was a bit of a weird yeah, it was for me anyway, how I was visualizing it. It was a bit Alice in Wonderland kind of weird dimensions and stuff, and it was really lovely. Yeah, and you juggled all the mechanics and were still able to, thanks Ari, and you were still able to, that was kind of the point I was making, that you were able to run the game really nicely and still do that really nice descriptive stuff.
Well, thank you very much. It's good feelings. Yeah, and well, I guess we'll round out here with Ryan. Do you have a star for the game, or for the session, or for someone at the table?
I guess sort of echoing what Harry said, that it was great to see how quickly everybody kind of jumped into things and piled on. Like I'd said before, I kind of expected my long-term project just be, so I'm doing this and that's it. And it was great having people say, no, but I will help you, and then just hair off with it in various directions. And it was awesome. I like the crew sort of gelling that way. And also going off to do your own things, like the bits about, you know, just knowing people in this district. That was wonderful.
Yeah, it made her slightly more competent.
No, she's very confident. She's just very distractible.
It also, like, it did seem heaps like I think I was creating the feeling for myself, but that we were like unleashed without the like scheming, controlling like characters around it. Like I really was feeling that, like, yep, we're making a robot cat and we're going to steal a painting. Like
that's the first thing that happens when they come back is like, you made what?
Well, we didn't finish because I'm busy finding the colors. But when I get back.
Yeah, there's just this half-constructed robotic cat that's in the
and a spirit bottle that's upset with us, and a smoochy drawing stuck to the lab.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, yeah, so my star is, I just really liked all of your character play in this session. I thought it was awesome to see these characters get the spotlight and like work together. Just really, really fun. And I feel like we built out who these characters are so much in this session. So I think that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So now the hopes, was it?
Wishes.
Yes, wishes. Yeah. So I guess we'll go in reverse order this time. So I'll give my wish. I wish for myself that I will get better at sort of like managing everybody's specialties in the scores. I think that is a challenge with this game. I don't think it's possible as a GM to spotlight everybody equally in the way that you do in most PBTA games, because people have skill specializations and some jobs will require their skills more than others. But I do want to make sure that everybody gets to do something cool on each job. So that is something I want to work on more. Yeah, so that's my wish. So Ryan, do you have any wishes?
Lou is stealing my thunder here. I was gonna say that one of my wishes is just that I wish I got the system a bit better, because I feel like I'm starting to get it, but I keep going, dang, I just don't know how this thing operates. I'm not really sure how to leverage it a lot of the time. Story element wise, though.
I just wanted to say, like, that's totally normal and fine. And like the thing is, those mechanical elements are there for you to be able to sort of like manipulate and like power game once you get used to them. But until that point, you can just play and it's fine. So like bit by bit, you will master the game, and then we'll have fun, you know, being like, well, if I spend this point here and that point there, and like, you know, start to strategize and all that kind of thing. Yeah.
Strategize, not just pick all the weird options.
Which is also cool. So go ahead.
Yeah. Story-wise, I liked the beginnings of the relationships between the group we started to see here, and I want more of that, like the cart and Razor being sort of the experts, but not the ones planning the scores, was really entertaining. And just Beetle and Razor sort of clashing heads, but also being very similarly motivated in ways, was really awesome. And I want to see more of them almost bickering. It was great.
Okay, duly noted. Very good. Lou, do you have any wishes?
Yeah, just to follow on from that point, I like that Beetle's like because she's the lurk character and we're playing a Gang of Shadows, like she's the kind of archetypal shadow in the group too, which is like quite interesting. But yeah, what do I want to see more of? To be honest, like there's I'm just really, I guess I'm loving the game, and I'm looking forward to like, I mean, me and Sid have talked about Stars and Wishes, and you're not just allowed to say that you want to play more of the the game, because that's a super obvious thing to say. But yeah, what do I want to see? I guess I'm interested in the in Smoochie, and seeing what happens with Smoochie. I'm kind of, you know, my main focus is actually the stuff that's happening with the other characters. Like, I'm interested to see what happens with the cat and the strange color quest, and I'm interested in seeing what happens with the demon and that sort of stuff, and Lord Skurlock. And also I'm interested to see how the game handles, because I heard really good things about other characters, about it being this thing where you can bring characters in and out easily. So I'm interested to see that like happen as well. And like, I feel like that's a real player, like it's not just the person running the game's job. I feel I really enjoy that as a player, like bringing other people back into the game if they haven't been there. And like, that's one of my, I'm still learning to be strong as a dialogue and in character player, and I'm really enjoying that lately. But I feel like I'm really good at tracking the narrative and remembering what's been going on, and that what's it called when you do shit that happened earlier, like reintegrating stuff into the story, and like that's my strong point. So I like doing that.
No, I'm really interested to see what reintegration we get once the spiders show up again. And Ari, do you have any wishes?
Yeah, sure. I'd like to see a little bit more of the sort of how these characters met, maybe in flashbacks. That would be kind of cool to kind of see how everyone started to put this group together somehow. Maybe a little bit more like player facing, not player facing, but interactions directly between the different characters to see how they deal with each other.
You
know, maybe even leading to some roles between them. You know, maybe a little bit of, you know, consensual tension, perhaps. But besides that, just more personal for me, I hope I can learn this game better, because I think the players when we know the rules with a system like this, it looks, I mean, this is a lot for you as a GM, and you're having to handle a lot of the weight that if we know the rules as players, we're going to be able to take that off of you. And
Yeah,
I can't do that. Yeah, I can't do that, man. Like I can't even go to the correct page number that you're on. Like most of the time, I'm looking at the index trying to find out where to go. But once we learn the system, I think we can give you that extra support and make things go easier for you.
Yeah, I really appreciate it whenever players like make an effort to learn the game or help me out with the rules. It makes a big difference for me. It takes some stress off because yeah, like I feel like I'm kind of in the same place to a degree where I still feel like I have so much to learn. But I do feel like you know, as kind of frustrated I was with character creation last session and just like all of the questions that we had to go through without like very much context, to the point that I actually went and wrote a whole new like
procedure thing.
Yeah, session 0 procedure, because it's like, this isn't working. I'm gonna do everything over again. So I have been very happy with the hooks that we generated in session 0, and like I love seeing those come to life in this session. So I'm like super glad we went through all of that. But I did want to just say, like, I felt like the game ran so much smoother this session than last session, and partially that's having 3 people instead of 5 people, but partially it's also just the game is actually moving now, and it's hitting a cadence and a flow that I think it was designed for. So I'm super happy about that.
Yeah. You also put the whole crew together and did the mission on the same session. That was difficult.
Yeah, it was really challenging. So yeah, but anyway, great session, everybody. I think it was fantastic. Awesome. And thanks so much for playing. And I'm gonna end the broadcast here.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.